Book hauls. I love watching other people's. I love making them. I love sharing them with you. Hi, my name's Bea and welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance, and also do a best of book hauls 2022. What a great way to end 2022 by sharing the best of my book hauls. This is roughly 2 hours of book hauls, starting with the very first mini book haul I ever did on my channel back in May, and ending with my Christmas book haul this past December. There will be chapters on the bottom in case you want to go to the next section, and I will also have links above in case you want to go to the original video, which will have links to every single book in the description. I'm so excited to share my book hauls with you. Without further ado, let's jump back in time to May of 2022 when I was a brand new booktuber. I am really excited to read this one. This is actually a rewrite of Only in Your Arms, which was Lisa Kleypas's first book from 1992. I am really excited to read this one. She actually says in here, she writes Dear Reader on the back, and she talks about how her mother didn't even find her very first novel very compelling or memorable, so she actually reworks it in this book. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it just talks about Maximilian Valerand and his stolen bride Lisette. He's mysterious. Do they fall in love? We'll just have to wait and see. But she says that she really hopes that we fall in love with the Valerand family all over again. So looking forward to reading this one. The next book is Midnight Angel, published in 1995. I got goosebumps reading the back cover of this. It's about a widower, and he's got some tragedy in his past. Obviously, if he's a widower, he must have really loved his wife, but he takes in a woman named Miss Karen Billingsley, and she is going to be the governess to his child. He doesn't really know anything about her past, and guess what? Neither does she. Apparently, she was condemned for a crime and narrowly escaped the gallows, and so she's sort of on the run, but her memory's really hazy. So it sounds like it's going to be really exciting, and of course, you know that he and she are going to fall in love. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Anyone recognize what this is? Why, it's a book on CD. Remember those? I don't even have a CD player in my van anymore, but I do have a DVD player, so I'm just going to play it in there. I think I even have a boombox somewhere that I'm going to dredge up while I'm doing some dishes or something. So this is called Because You're Mine, and it was published in 1995. So it is about, this looks really good, Lady Madeline Matthews, who is supposed to marry some old codger that she's not excited about. She thinks the only way to get away from getting married to this guy is to get herself besmirched with a scoundrel. He's a notorious womanizer, and he is got some skeletons in his own closet, but I have a feeling she kind of helps him with them. So we'll have to see. Does the pretend love affair they have so that she doesn't have to marry that old guy turn out to be something more? I have a feeling it does. Okay, here comes another one. This is from 1998, Stranger in My Arms. I got goosebumps just now, again, reading the back cover. It actually reminds me of that movie with Jodie Foster and Richard Gere, where he's supposed to be her dead husband, and he comes back, but he's like a different man, and they fall in love. I don't remember the title. Does anybody remember that movie? That was probably from around the same time. I think it was the 90s. But anyway, this book looks so darn good. I might have to start it today. It's about Lady Hawksworth. She finds out that her husband is not dead. She thought he was lost at sea. And quite frankly, I don't think she was too sad about it because they had a loveless marriage. So she finds out that her husband's back, and yet he doesn't seem like her husband. He's way better, but he knows things that only her husband would know. So what's the deal? Is he her husband or not? And do they fall in love? We'll just have to find out. Up next, Someone to Watch Over Me. I've actually heard a lot of people talk about this one. It's from 1999, which is the year I graduated from high school. So, yeah, it's still a long time ago, unfortunately. Anyway, this is about a woman who, she is found in the Thames. She was like freezing, does not remember her past at all. Big amnesia book here. And she finds this rake named Grant Morgan, and he is taken with her. He's used to probably more worldly women, but she seems so innocent. He wants to help her figure out her past, and I have a feeling that he does, and I have a feeling that maybe they fall in love, but we'll see. We shall see. So this book is called Where Dreams Begin. It was published in the year 2000, which doesn't feel like all that long ago to me, but it's 2022 now. So golly, this was 22 years ago. This book could drink if it went to a bar. It's that old. Anyway, it looks like it's a good one. Not as complicated of a plot. You've got a widow who is pretty much, she's got to play by society's rules. I don't think she's going to get remarried because I don't think they did that back then. She discovers love with this scoundrel. And hopefully that means that they can find a happy ending and live more fully than they thought that they could based on society's rules back then. So my final book today, this one was published in 2002. It's part of the Bow Street Runners series, and it's a very different cover because it was just republished last year. She gave it a different ending. So I'm really excited about that, especially if you've read Bow Street Runners. I actually have not read that series yet, but I've definitely wanted to get into it. So I want to read the regular Bow Street Runners, including the original book of Lady Sophia's Lover, and then compare that to this one. I think that'll be really cool. This is about, they call him the Monk of Bow Street. His name is Sir Ross Cannon, and he takes on a woman to be his assistant, and he's a little unsure about it, but they wind up falling in love, surprise, surprise. And though she's got a secret past, and once that becomes unraveled, it seems pretty clear that they're not going to be able to be together. So thing is, he's willing to risk just about anything for her. So we're going to see what happens. But yeah, I'm really excited to see like the different ending and how that goes. So I'm actually going to start with these two. We've got Only in Your Arms and When Strangers Marry. This is one of the first books that Lisa Kleypas ever published. And it's the first one she ever published for Avon. So this one is from 1992 and this one is from 2002. Why am I holding these up at the same time, you might be asking? Well, Lisa Kleypas was very unhappy ultimately, not very unhappy, but she was a little underwhelmed by the performance of this book and just how well, like her mom even had trouble remembering what had happened in this book. So in 2002, which was 20 years ago, gosh, and 10 years after this was published, Lisa Kleypas gave it another go and changed it to When Strangers Marry. So I actually ordered this on Amazon because I couldn't help myself. I wanted the original copy. So this did cost like $4, but that's the most I've spent on any of these books, by the way. And then this one, I got it at a used bookstore for $3. So what I'm planning on doing in a future video is reading both of these and then comparing and seeing how she changed it up in 10 years. So I'm really excited about these. These, by the way, are the only books that I couldn't find either on Overdrive through my local library to be able to listen to, maybe because they're so old. I also couldn't find them on Audible. So be aware, if you're thinking of reading these, they're only in print. By the way, both of these are considered part of the Valorant series, and they're both considered book one, which it actually got 3.68 on Goodreads, which might be interesting to know. I am insanely excited about this one. I left the tag on so you can see I got this for 75 cents. Why is this especially exciting? This is Eloisa James's most recent offering. It's actually on the cover of her website if you were to go to that right now. And I got it for 75 cents at a library book sale. And most of their paperbacks, the mass market paperbacks, are 50 cents, but I think they knew this one was extra special, so they made me pay an extra quarter. I was so excited when I saw this that I whooped for joy. And you're not really supposed to whoop in the library, but the book sale people were glad that somebody was appreciating their books. So that was nice. But I will say, this is the first in the How to Be a Wallflower series, not to be confused with The Wallflowers by Lisa Kleypas. And the second book in the series comes out this November, the 29th. So I'm really hoping to read this one and listen to it before I read the second one. And this one got 3.93 from Goodreads, which I think is pretty decent, so I'm excited. So the back of this is really interesting too. It really explains, I love the photos in the back. They're real, she and he, the hero and the heroine, are both really into costumes and dressing up. She decides she's going to dress as an ugly duckling to try to keep suitors away, but then winds up buying the whole place. He's mad because he wanted to buy it. And then they wind up dressing one another up in like really interesting costumes. So I think especially if you are into the period dress, I think this is going to be a blast. So I'm really excited. Lorraine Heath. I have never read a Lorraine Heath, but I saw this for 50 cents at a library book sale. I had to get it. It is a 4.02 from Goodreads. And everybody I know that's really into the other historical romances that I like says Lorraine Heath is a good bet. So I'm really excited about this one. This is the second book in the Scoundrel of St. James series. Does it bother me that I have the second book and not the first? You bet. But don't worry, I'll figure it out. We have Olivia and Jack. He is the owner of a gentleman's club. He is a rake, and she's going to reform him with her special ways. So I've been promised on the back cover, it literally says I'm going to be swooning over him, so I expect some major swooning to be happening. Suddenly You, Lisa Kleypas. Look at this. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love that I appreciate this now, and I never did before. It's not part of a series, and if it were, it would probably be like book 7 of 10 with the luck that I've been having. But I've not read this. I've heard a million great things. I've seen videos, blogs. People say this is their favorite Lisa Kleypas. Then it's a little extra scandalous, which, okay, interesting. So I'm very excited to read this. I did lend this already to one of my friends, and she was scandalized. I was like, uh-oh. So now when I read this, I'm gonna be like, oh no, I'm so sorry I gave this to her. Or maybe not. I mean, my friend is total diehard on Julia Quinn. So, I mean, she can't be that scandalized. If she's read all the Bridgerton, for example, that's gonna be something I'm doing first. Actually, I've never read Julia Quinn. Actually, let me get to that, hold on. Julia Quinn, have I ever read Julia Quinn? No. Have I ever seen the Bridgerton series? Sort of. I've seen the first 2 episodes of the first season twice. I started it, and then I stopped. And then like a year later, when the second season came out, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And I started it, and then I stopped. And I just want to read the books first, I think, or read along. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read, for an upcoming video, I'm gonna read the prequels first. Because I like to do things in order when I can. I know based on this book haul, you probably don't believe that. But I will when it comes to the Bridgerton series, because it's so epic. And I want to read the prequels first. And I think I will be one of the few people that will read the prequels without really having any idea what's going on in the actual series, the Bridgerton series. In any case, I grabbed this one first because I was just so excited to try something Julia Quinn. I got it for 50 cents at a library book sale, surprise, surprise. And then I grabbed this in a free little library. So this was free, and it's Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is apparently book 4 of the Bridgerton series. So at some point I will get to this one. But I'm really excited about both of these. It's a 3.99 on Goodreads, which I'm super excited about. And then Romancing Mr. Bridgerton is 3.98. So both very promising. Looking forward to it. Okay, I'm really excited about these two. So Devil's Daughter, Lisa Kleypas, book 5 in the Ravenel series. For those of you that have seen any of my videos, which let's face it, you probably haven't. I am doing a summer with Lisa Kleypas where I'm going to be rereading all the Ravenels. So when I found this in the free little library, I was so excited to nab it. So I got this for nothing, and it has West Ravenel, who is one of my favorite characters of all times. I found him to be so funny and charming, and I was so excited when he was going to be able to find the love of his life in Phoebe, who is Sebastian and Evie's daughter. Sebastian and Evie, of course, from the Wallflower series. I'm so glad I wore this shirt for this video. Anyway, very excited to read this later this summer. And of course, the fact that I own it, I'm just so happy. And check out the step back. So we've got Phoebe, and then inside, here's West and Phoebe. And look at her dress. Oh, so beautiful. And that hair. She's so lovely. Just like her mom with that red hair. Oh, I love it. But wait, there's more. Guess what else I got of the Ravenel series? Ravenels, I think it's pronounced. Devil in Disguise. That's right. I got this at a library book sale. They, again, knew what they had. They didn't charge 50 cents like they do for most mass market paperbacks. It's a whole $1. I paid a whole $1 for this book, and it just came out. And it's the only book in the whole Wallflowers, Hathaways, Ravenels that I have never read, and now I own it. So I am very excited about this, and I cannot wait to see what the daughter of Marcus and Lillian is going to do. And of course, actually right now I'm reading Marcus and Lillian. This is my week 3 of my summer with Lisa Kleypas, and I'm reading It Happened One Autumn, which is Marcus and Lillian, and boop, their daughters in this book, so it's just so perfect. Some of you are aware that I've recently dabbled in Highlander, trying to branch out a little bit here and there, and I have so far have really enjoyed what I've read, primarily Paula Quinn, which I have many videos about. Love her. But I've heard so much about Lindsay Sands. I've never read a Lindsay Sands book before. This one is book 8, Highland Brides. There are 10 books in this series, and the lowest rated one is 3.9. So I was like, wow, okay, I'm really excited. This is book 8. Again, I'm towards the end of the series, but I got this for 50 cents at a library book sale. So I was excited to give it a whirl. And I'm planning on doing this one probably for my try a chapter challenge. I actually have a bunch of Highlander books that I'm going to save for another video, and we're going to see which one we're going to go with. But I have high hopes for this one. It looks fantastic. Great reviews, and yeah, I'm thinking Lindsay Sands is pretty good. The step back is, I'm guessing, their castle up in the Highlands. So it's great. And these, oh my gosh, can you see these other covers, by the way? Oh, the beauty, the beauty. Okay, these next 3, I got all of these at a library book sale. I've really been doing well at the book sales, although they are really hit or miss. Sometimes I get nothing, and sometimes I walk out with 4 bags of stuff. It's also stuff for my kids too. But anyway, not these. Anyway, but so these are 3 of the 5 books in the fairy tale series by Eloisa James, and I've never read them, but I've always wanted to see what a romance novel take on a fairy tale could be like. And I really like Eloisa James and her writing. I feel like I always learn something when I read her books because she always gives you a little historical information. In fact, I'm currently reading her Seduction Series 1B, which happens to be my name, on Kindle Vella, which I'm going to do a video about soon. But yeah, I just love learning about different things. You read historical romance and you try to figure out things or just sort of infer things, but she practically spells stuff out toward the ends of chapters or the episodes if you're talking about Kindle Vella, or the end of her book. So anyway, I'm really excited about these. I got The Duke Is Mine, which is a take on The Princess and the Pea, if you couldn't tell by all the mattresses, as well as Once Upon a Tower, Rapunzel, of course, and When Beauty Tamed the Beast. And I don't even need to tell you what that's a take on. Now, I still need The Ugly Duchess and A Kiss at Midnight. Ugly Duchess, obviously, The Ugly Duckling, and A Kiss at Midnight is the Cinderella one. So I'm really excited to read all 5 of those and see what she has to offer in her take on fairy tales. For When Beauty Tamed the Beast, look, oh my gosh. I know I should have taken the sticker off her face on the cover, but I mean, come on. I needed to show that I got paid 50 cents. And this is just lovely. Love the dress. Oh my gosh. I especially love this step back for Once Upon a Tower. Look how beautiful. I love the castle in the background and the mist. Oh, for The Duke Is Mine. She's alone, but then check out the step back. She's got her man. All right. Beautiful. Love the colors. Very rich. So Stephanie Lawrence is another author I have not yet read. Again, I'm still a novice. I'm still learning. And I've never read it says privateer, but we all know it's pirate, right? I mean, come on. This is going to be a pirate romance novel, and I'm here for it. I am excited. And I'm excited to try Stephanie Lawrence. And this, again, it got a great Goodreads review. It's a 4.09, which sign me up for that. It's book number 4 of the Adventurers Quartet. And I'm ready. I think I can just probably start with this one. It's kind of bigger. It's a little thicker than what I'm used to, but it is all about some pirates on the high seas adventures. And it's June right now. I would love to read a nice pirate book this summer. We've tried in the summer to do piratey type things just as like a fun theme. And we'll watch the Pirates of the Caribbean and we get confused by like movie 3. I don't have a clue what the plot is past like the second movie. Does anyone? In any case, I'm excited to change it up a little bit this year and try out a pirate romance novel, and especially Stephanie Lawrence. So there you have it. So here we go. We got another step. I should just take these stickers off. It's terrible. But you can see them inside. You can see them inside. Look at that dress. Oh, that's one of my very favorite colors. I love it. I cannot wait to be on that ship in my mind this summer. So perfect. Okay, these next 3 are from the very first series I ever read several years ago of romance, a historical romance. Eloisa James, the Desperate Duchesses series. I actually read Desperate Duchesses by the numbers first, And then I had to go back and read Desperate Duchesses. So we've got the first one. You know what happened? And do you know why I stopped reading them over years? January 1st, 2020, I went into labor a little bit early with my daughter. And yeah, a couple weeks after that, you pretty much know what happened, called pandemic. And yes, I only started reading again recently, and I'm just so happy to be back. So anyway, back to this. Desperate Duchess is the very first book in the series. Look at this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does he look like Ian Somerhalder to you? I may just have Ian Somerhalder on the brain. Vampire Diaries fan here. Yeah, I'm calling myself out. Believe it or not, here's the first book. Then I have the second book. I actually have the first and the second book of a series. Can you believe it? And then this is a cute one, An Affair Before Christmas. That is lovely. Love the wind. They got the wind machine going for this one. And that looks like Fabio a little bit. I'm sure it's probably not. I also just watched the movie The Lost City, where Channing Tatum plays one of these guys. If you haven't seen The Lost City, I highly recommend it, with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. I know this is not about movies, but I'm doing it anyway. It was so cute. And Channing Tatum is the perfect model for romance covers. I mean, let's be real. Then we have the last book in the Desperate Duchesses series. So I have the first, second, and last, the sixth, A Duke of Her Own. And check out this. Whoa! Now that's a step back. I'm stepping way back and not showing that one to my kids. Yikes! but a lot of fun. I loved that series, and I'm excited to get back into it. So I've always been intrigued by Eloisa James's Born to Be Wild series. I've never read it before. This is book 3. It's the Wilds of Lindo Castle, right? The Wilds of Lindo Castle series by Eloisa James. I've always been excited to get into it. Never have. Here's book 3. I got this for free in a free little library, which was so exciting. But then guess what else is exciting? I got My Last Duchess for 50 cents at a book sale, and My Last Duchess is the prequel to the Wilds of Lindo Castle. So not only did I get the first book, I did better. I got the prequel. So I feel kind of good about that. I'm really excited about this series. It's about brothers, and they're a little roguish, a little rakish, and they get their women. This is a terrible synopsis. They have great Goodreads reviews, and yeah, I'm excited to listen to these and read them. So if you've ever seen any of my videos, you're likely to have seen this corner. But now guess what? I've expanded to another corner of my bedroom, and I'm going to be putting all my new books that I just got on this shelf. So I'm really excited, and I'm really excited for you to share with me. I wanted to start with Stephanie Lawrence. She's obviously an author that a lot of people love, but I have never read her before. I'm really excited. One of her books, The Lord of the Privateers, is a book that I'm going to be using for my Try a Chapter challenge. I'm going to be doing a pirate romance novel challenge coming up in a couple of weeks, where I try out several books, and one of them is Stephanie Lawrence, so I'm excited. But here we have The Lady Chosen, which is part of the Rake Appreciation Society book pick for the month of July. So I bought this for 50 cents at a used bookstore, and I was really excited to join the book challenge, and I just have not had time to read this physically. So I'm probably gonna have to miss the book club, which I'm bummed about. But this got a 3.98 rating on Goodreads, so it's obviously really good. And it's the first of the Bastion Club, which reminds me of a Male Wallflowers from Lisa Kleypas. It's 7 guys, I believe, and they're all single, and they're all trying to get hitched so they can and they kind of work together. They've actually bought a home in the city so that they can do recon for one another, I think as they call it, and find suitable women for themselves. So it's like a Wallflowers in reverse and slightly more masculine. But it looks really good, and I'm sad that I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing by the Rake Appreciation Society, but oh well. The other one is The Taming of Ryder Kavanaugh, and it got a 3.97, another really highly rated book on Goodreads. It's a Sinster novel number 20. So there's a lot in this series, and it's actually, though, the second in the Sinster Sisters say that 3 times fast, series. So I'm looking forward to trying this one out. I got this one for 50 cents at a used book sale. Never in my life would I ever have bought books for the step back, but I am totally drinking the Kool-Aid now. I saw 2 by Mary Jo Putney, and just the spines alone, just looking on the shelves in the library book sale, it had my attention because they're so glossy and beautiful. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to check these out. And then when I looked at the step backs, I was like, yes, I have to have these. And for 50 cents a piece, I mean, how could you not almost? So this is also, by the way, this is part of the Silk trilogy. And it was, it's a 3.99 on Goodreads. So it's obviously really good, but check out the step back. Are you ready? How insanely gorgeous is this? You've got action going on up here, action and adventure and love, romance, beautiful. Look at the clothing here. I need to do this as part of Step Back Saturday on Instagram if I ever learn to remotely master Instagram. I'm so sad on there. I need to work on that. But it's just gorgeous. Same thing for her book, Thunder and Roses. This got a 4.01 on Goodreads. It's part of the Fallen Angels series. It's #1, which I hardly ever get a first in the series, which I'm really excited about. And look. Oh, again, we've got, what is it? This might be dancing. What is this? It looks like they're dancing. And then, oh, sorry about this. So we've got dancing. We've got some love going on. It looks like it's in exotic locations too. And I mean, look at this. This is just lovely. Oh, so drinking the Kool-Aid. And I love the cover. I mean, who doesn't love that? And even the back is gorgeous. Oh, 50 cents. So I've been branching out, trying new things, trying fantasy romance, and Jen of the Book Refuge and some of her pals are doing the SJM along, Sarah J. Maas. So A Court of Thorns and Roses was one of the books that they did. And then this month, at the end of July, on the 31st, they're doing A Court of Mist and Fury. Well, I've been wanting to read these books, and I thought, oh gosh, I don't want to miss this. So I read this one already this month, and I actually have a review linked above in case you're interested. There are spoilers. And now I'm in this one, and I've totally drunk the Kool-Aid, and I'm kind of along with everybody else that says that this one is not as good as this one. So far, I'm liking this one more. This one got a 4.19 on Goodreads, which is amazing. But this one got a 4.6 on Goodreads. I've never read a book that got that high a rating. And that's with over 754,000 reviews. So you know this is a good book. I am so excited to finish this one, to do a review later, but then of course to join the SJM along online. I'm really excited. And I got this at a used bookstore. Now they've never been read. I'm not even sure how they wound up there, to tell you the truth, but they're like 18 bucks a piece. I got them for 15. And I feel like this one should be cheaper because look how much smaller it is, but you know, whatever. I love a good take on a fairy tale. And in my last book haul, I detailed how I got 3 of the 5 fairy tale series from Eloisa James. I've never read them. This winter, maybe January, I want to do a reading vlog of all 5 of the fairy tale books. You know, winter time, we're going to be inside. It's going to be cozy. It's the perfect time to do some fairy tales that are romantic, extra romantic. So I'm excited. And I was especially excited. I went to a used bookstore. I got each of these for 75 cents. These are the 2 that I needed. The Ugly Duchess and A Kiss at Midnight. This is the first one in the series. And then I've also, Seduced by a Pirate is one that I'm reading for my Pirate Try a Chapter Challenge later this month. So you'll see that video. And then they also have, there is another, so Seduced by a Pirate is 4.5, which I'm not really counting in the 5 that I need. And there's also a 2.5, Winning the Wallflower, which I would like to read as well. And then I have this, okay, so this is book 1. Then book 2 is When Beauty Tamed the Beast, which I had in my last book haul video. The Duke is Mine, which is a take on The Princess and the Pea, which is in my other video. And then this is book 4, The Ugly Duchess. And, oh, by the way, of course, this is like The Ugly Duckling. This is like Cinderella, if you couldn't guess. Is there a slipper? There's the slipper. And Once Upon a Tower I also have, and that is a take on Rapunzel. Speaking of Eloisa James, I got for 50 cents. I'm not even joking. Mistletoe Christmas. It's an anthology with some great stories by different people. We've got Eloisa James, Christy Caldwell, Jenna McGregor, and Erica Ridley. And this got 3.79 on Goodreads. And I'm really excited. I want to read it this December and maybe vlog about it. I'm not sure, but I love a good Christmas romance. So when I saw this, I had to scoop it up. I nabbed this one from the free little library the other day. I swapped it out for a book I accidentally had two of. Oops. I guess that happens to all of us, right? Anyway, I was dubious because I was like, well, I don't know anything about Joanne Ross, but it got 4.05 on Goodreads. So I was like, oh, cool. It's part of the Honeymoon Harbor. This is book number 3, and it's a small town romance. It's set in the Pacific Northwest, which I'm an East Coast gal. I've never been to the Pacific Northwest, unless you count, well, no, I've been to San Diego. That's not the Northwest. Hello, maps. Hello, directions. Anyway, but I am fascinated by that area. I would love to visit at some point. So I guess I'm going to be visiting this summer because it's a perfect summer read in my mind. It's about a guy named Gabe. He's overworked. He goes to this small town. He falls in love with a librarian, which for me was the dream job for a very long time. I always wanted to be a librarian. Maybe I'll volunteer. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so he falls in love with her, and then he has to decide, like, he has to go back to work in New York City or he can stay. Who knows what'll happen? Anything could happen, right? Kerrigan Byrne. I've heard this author so many times, but in reference to her book, The Highwayman. Now, I've never read The Highwayman. I've never read Kerrigan Byrne, but this got a 3.88 on Goodreads, and I was excited. This is book number 3 of the Devil You Know series. I love the cover. It's like a step back built right into the cover. And no, there is no other step back or anything, but it looks intriguing and I'm dying to read this author, so I'm going for it. But at some point, I really need to read The Highwayman based on everything I've heard. Julie Garwood, Guardian Angel. This is a pirate book. It does not look like a pirate book, but it is. I got this for 50 cents and I was excited because I wanted to read this anyway as part of my try a chapter challenge for my pirate romance books that I'm going to be reading later this month. And I only found this in ebook, so I was kind of bummed. And then when I saw it for 50 cents at the used bookstore, I was like, yes, great. And it got 4.15 on Goodreads. So I was really excited about that. And it's book number 2 of the Crown's Spies series. The first one I did look, it is not a pirate book at all. So it's kind of interesting that she chose to do a historical romance pirate book when the first one is just a regular historical romance from what I understand. But regardless, I'm excited to try this and you'll be seeing it in my pirate romance video. Shameless plug alert. I can't remember the last time I went to Target. It's been a while. I haven't really done their book area, but when I saw this, first of all, I love this song, from Little Mermaid. Obviously, this has nothing to do with that, but I was intrigued and I was looking at all the books and I was like, okay, I kind of want to buy a book, but it's 20% off. So it's still like on sale, right? So anyway, when I saw that this had a 4.4 rating on Goodreads, and that's with almost 40,000 reviews, I was like, okay, sold. I can't even remember the last time I read a 4.44. I may never have, except right now, obviously doing A Court of Mist and Fury, which is 4.6. But anyway, I'm really excited about this book. You've got a doctor, the gal is the doctor, yeah, from the city, and we've got a guy who's on the farm. It's like a small town romance. It looks so sweet. And I mean, listen to this. After a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and cuddle with a baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has her whole world turned upside down. The cause, Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her, and as casual as they come. The complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis. Sold! Done! I was in line before I read the rest. I was like, yes! I am so excited to read this. Woohoo! And it's a contemporary romance, which I've done very little of. It's like a rom-com, I'm assuming. So speaking of stores like Target, I've also been to Walmart recently. And Walmart is doing like redos of Lisa Kleypas books. And one of these I did buy at Walmart for $7.40, which I was like, okay, it's 2 books in one though. So that's still a deal. That's still a lot less than I would pay per book. And then the other one, this one I got for $4 and it's 2 books. So that's like $2 a book. So, and this was at a used bookstore. These are part of the Hathaways series. We've got Seduce Me at Sunrise and Tempt Me at Twilight here, and Married by Morning and Love in the Afternoon. So all that's left is I need a single of mine till midnight. And then I've got them all. There's also, little known fact, the Hathaway Wedding, which you can find online. I'm going to be doing Hathaway's beginning next week in my Summer with Lisa Kleypas series. And I will have the link to the Hathaway Wedding in my Seduce Me at Sunrise video, because that is the book that's Kev and Wynn's wedding. So it's meant to be read after book 2 of the Hathaway series. So probably too much information for a book haul, but that's okay. So I've never read Lindsay Sands. I've always wanted to, and I want to try paranormal romance. Maybe this October would be kind of fun. But I found 2 of her vampire books for, what was this? This was 50 cents. This was also 50 cents. I got them at different times. Believe it or not, I actually found book 1 of the series, and it got a 3.9. So I was like, okay, cool. This is not book 2, not book 5, but book number 27 of the series. The series, by the way, is called the Argano series. There are 35 books in this series, and the 35th is yet to be published. I believe it's coming out this fall, and it's called After the Bites. So I don't know how many books are going to be in this series, but if there's 35, it has to be good, right? Although I will be honest, I was really excited for the J.R. Ward vampire series, and right away I realized it was not for me. So this may be the same, but I want to try it out. And again, this was $1 total, so not a big loss if it's not my thing. So, believe it or not, I've never read Julia Quinn. And I've never seen Bridgerton, except for the first 2 episodes, twice, because there's no time that I can find to watch them because I have children. Everybody I know said to me, you gotta see it, but not when the kids are around. So I was like, okay. So I've seen the first 2 episodes, but it was a long time ago, and we just got a TV in front of our treadmill and elliptical. So at some point I'm gonna start exercising, and when I do, I'm gonna watch Bridgerton. So I was very excited though. I got, for a variety of prices, I just got the Duke and I, the original, and look at the step back on the back cover. Beautiful. So this obviously, for those of you, I'm sure just about everybody knows, it's book 1. And this was a 3.82, by the way. And we have book 2, The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is 4.05, much more highly rated. And number 3 I got this for $5. Why did I pay so much at the used bookstore? I could have probably grabbed it at some point at another time, but whatever. The other ones were mostly 50 cents. This one is a 3.95 on Goodreads. I do not have number 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, but I'm on the lookout for it. I love a good hunt. I also have number 5, To Sir Philip with Love, which got a 3.77. I heard this one might be the most controversial, but I could be wrong. I'm looking forward to reading all these and finding out. And then I've got number 6, which is a 4.01, another one of the most highly rated. And I need number 7, It's in His Kiss. So I'm going to be on the lookout for this one too, which I can't wait to do. And I also have number 8. I actually have 2 copies of this one by accident, so this will go in the free little library. It's a 3.85 on Goodreads. So looking forward to it. I have 6 of the 8 books, and it took me a couple months to grab them all. And let's see how long it takes to get the other 2. I am ready to hunt. But wait, there's more. So there are prequels to the Bridgerton series. I don't know if that's news to you. It was to me. So I'm actually going to do something I rarely do, which is read the books in order. And I have the first 2 of 4 of the prequels to the Bridgerton series. It's known as the Rokespies. And I was so excited to get both of these. And I got them for $6. They're a little more expensive. I don't know why I do it. I couldn't help myself. I had to get them, even though they were a little more expensive. But still, they were used books, and I got a special price. So that's pretty good. So this one's number 1, and it got a 3.94. This one is number 2, and it also got a 3.94. Interesting. They both got the same thing. Weird. But here's something else fun. Whenever I can find a 2-for-1 deal on Audible, I generally pick it up lately. And so this was on Audible as part of the 2-for-1 deal. And the other one that I found that was recommended to me, so they know me, was, and I'm going to put it up here because obviously I don't have a physical copy, Tessa Dare's Any Duchess Will Do, which is the Spindle Cove series. It's number 4. And it actually got a 4.04. I have never read Tessa Dare. I am dying to do so. So when I found out that I could do a 2-for-1 with this book, I was so excited. So even though it's not a physical book, I'm counting it as part of my book haul deals. So it's in the book haul. Did I mention I was doing a pirate romance video? I did? Well, guess what? Cressley Cole, who I had never read before, I'm currently reading The Captain of All Pleasures by her as part of my pirate video. And this is part of her Immortals After Dark series. This is another one I've never read this series before, but I really like what I'm reading right now by Cressley Cole. And this got a 4.34, which is like a really, really good rating. It's number 5 of the Immortals After Dark series. The last one is number 18, which was out this year. So I don't know how many she's planning on doing. But I'm really excited to read a paranormal romance by Cressley Cole because I'm really enjoying her prehistoric romance. her historical romance. Prehistoric. It's about dinosaurs. No. I bet there's something like that out there though. Anybody know? Let me know in the comments. Continuing with paranormal romance, I also got Night Magic. The cover I thought was super cool. Maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it's not at all. And it is an anthology, obviously, with some great authors. It's a 3.77, but I thought this might be kind of fun for like October because there's a lot of Cooley. What am I saying? I'm losing my mind. Too many books, too much talking. I don't know. So we've got a werewolf in here, and then maybe like a stranger from the stars. I don't really know what that means. We have a bewitching medieval enchantress and a creature of the night. So I'm very intrigued, and I can't wait to try it. We also have Christina Dodd, who I've never read. I'm looking forward to reading. Wilder. You can guess what kind of wolf we have here. It is The Chosen Ones, Volume 5 of 5. I got the very last one. But it's a 4.13 on Goodreads, so I was like, let's give this a shot. So, looking forward to some werewolf love. Does that sound wrong? You know what I mean, right? If you saw my vlog for Devil in Winter, you are aware that I am super, super excited to read the series that sort of leads into Devil in Winter. And I'm not talking about the Wallflowers. I'm talking about The Gamblers of Cravens, which is several books and a couple novellas. And I got one of the books. I was so excited. I got this for 50 cents. This is the second book of the Gamblers for Craven series. And it features Derek Craven, which I've heard some people say is their number 1 favorite hero ever by her, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. I can't wait. It's 4.18. Now I just need Then Came You, because that's the first book. Speaking of heroes I love, I also got this one. It's not the best. I mean, it's not in the best shape. Let's take a look at the step back. Yes. I'm sorry. I get really excited about Ethan Ransom. He might be my favorite hero ever of Elisa Kleypas. And I really do like McKenna from Again the Magic and Sebastian, Lord St. Vincent from Devil in Winter and like every other book in the Ravenels and Wallflower series. But I adore this man. And I love this book. This is probably my favorite Ravenels book. Now, I haven't read Devil in Disguise yet, so maybe I'm wrong. But it's going to be really hard to outdo this one. And when I found that I could have my own physical copy, I didn't even care that it's kind of like in older shape because I just love it. And if I find a nicer copy, then I'll just switch them out. And this could go to like a free little library. But I was so excited for this. I just love this book so much. And I love Garrett and I love Ethan and I love them together. Back to Julia Quinn. So I feel like sometimes covers are like the Rorschach test of like what's in our brain. And I see 2 men when I look at these men. I see Richard Marx and Ian Somerhalder. And I know in my last book haul, I was already like, does this look like Ian Somerhalder? And it was a different guy. So I obviously have Ian Somerhalder very deeply embedded in my brain. Richard Marx, not so much. I don't know where, I don't know. But one of my good friends is actually obsessed with him for some strange reason, even though she was way too young to like him. So was I, very young. But anyway, I just messaged her with this picture. I'm like, does this look like Richard Marx? And she's like, yes. So, right? If you have no idea who I'm talking about, enjoy being young. Okay. Anyway, these are the two books from the Two Dukes of Wyndham series. We've got number 1 and number 2, 3.74 and a 3.6. I'm looking forward to reading these and just imagining Richard Marx and Ian Somerhalder. Let's be honest, I'm way more interested in Ian Somerhalder than Richard Marx, but maybe I'll lend this to my friend who's obsessed with him. We'll see. Okay, so back to contemporary for a minute. I got at Free Little Library Crystal Cove, and it's a 3.53, which is actually kind of not a great rating. And like, in my opinion, I don't usually read a book that's like below 3.8 at the lowest. But I love her, and it's Friday Harbor it's Friday Harbor number 4 out of, I think, 4. And I have number 3, Dream Lake, which I featured in my other book haul video. And it's funny because this one is kind of the worst for wear, but it was free. So, you know, whereas Dream Lake is a hardback and it's beautiful and glossy. So quite a difference. But I'm really looking forward to this one. And again, I think the Friday Harbor series is magical because they talk about a spell being cast on her. And if you look at the moon, like, it looks kind of like magical maybe. So I think there's something mystical and magical about all the Friday Harbor books. And there's a Christmas one too. So I might be reading that one at Christmas time just to see. But I'm intrigued. This is like in perfect condition. I got this for $1. And this is very highly rated. You can see my post-it notes. It's a 4.01 on Goodreads. Are you sick of hearing me say Goodreads, by the way? I apologize. So this is like a Western contemporary romance, and I want to do a Western romance try a chapter challenge in August. So I might add this, but I'm afraid that because I'm such a Lisa Kleypas fan that I'll be predisposed to picking this. But if I do add it, I'm going to be unbiased. I will pick whatever one seems best, but I'm really excited about this one regardless. This shelf is almost full. It's getting there. I'm gonna need another shelf. I asked for a bookshelf and he's like, oh, I'll make a shelf. Okay. Or a bookshelf. A bookshelf would also be nice. So talking about 2 more, I've got 2 more that are historical romance that are not part of, well, they're parts of series, but I don't have the whole series. Actually, okay, so The Wilds of Lindo Castle, I mentioned that I have book number 3. Now I have book number 2, and I love the Step Back Hello. You know, when I saw this, I thought of one word: yummy. Love the dress, love the looks, just yummy, just love it. It's a 3.87, but I love Eloisa James, so I'm going to give this a try. And it sounds like a really good series. I also have Julia Quinn, Bevelstoke number 1. It's a 3.9. And I also have book 3, which I mentioned in one of my other videos. It's 10 Things I Love About You. So there's only 3 books, and now I have 1 and 3. So now I'm on the lookout for number 2. Okay, I struggled with whether or not to even include these because after watching Jesson and Jesson Reads Romance talk about the difference between women's fiction and romance, these, I don't know if they're technically romance, but they certainly are women's fiction, and they're very interesting. This is a plus-size girl who is on a bachelorette-type dating show. She's trying to love her body while falling in love with a guy. And from what I understand, it's not all that heavy into romance, but there is some there. So it got a 3.91 rating, and I got this for $3 at the used bookstore. So I was excited to try it, and I'm going to give it a roll and see what I think. I also have Elizabeth Gilbert, City of Girls. This got a 4.04. You may know Elizabeth Gilbert from, I can't say her name, Elizabeth Gilbert from Eat, Pray, Love. But this is City of Girls. It's set in the 40s, which is a time period that I really enjoy. I love old movies, and I just got the sense that this was sort of like old Hollywood glamour, despite the fact that it's set in New York City. But I'm really excited to enter this world, and I've heard great things. So I know there's romance in it, but I don't know that it's centered on romance. So ta-da! Thanks for helping me fill my shelf and listening along. This was a lot of books. 42 books. If I include 2 of these each, and also my Tessa Dare one that's obviously not actually on the shelf. It's on the shelf in spirit. I'm going to start with 4 books by 4 different romance authors I've never read, but I'm really excited to try. The first of which is Beverly Jenkins' Destiny's Surrender. This is book 2 of the Destiny series, and it got a 4.18 on Goodreads. It's a historical romance that takes place on a ranch, and there's a marriage of convenience, but apparently some sizzling passions as well. So I'm excited to try Beverly Jenkins out. I've heard nothing but fabulous things. Sabrina Jeffries is another author I've heard a lot about, but I've never actually read her. Obviously, this is a historical romance based on this gorgeous cover. This is part of Duke Dynasty #4, and it got a 3.95 on Goodreads, which is pretty good. There's mystery surrounding murder, as well as a fake engagement that apparently turns real. I'm excited. So many booktubers I love really like Kerrigan Byrne. So when I saw this, I had to scoop it up. It's the second Kerrigan Byrne I own. This is part of The Devil You Know series #2, and it got a 3.88 on Goodreads. I've heard though that a theme in her books are dark pasts and just more serious themes. And so I'm a little nervous about trying her out, but I think I can probably handle it. If you've ever been to my channel before, you know that I'm pretty obsessed with Lisa Kleypas. And I've heard 2 other names frequently mentioned to me as, if you like Lisa Kleypas, then you'd really like 2 other authors. One is Tessa Dare, who I still haven't tried yet, but I just got one of her books through Audible on sale. And that was in my last book haul. But then I just got this one, 10 Ways to be Adored When Landing a Lord. And it is it's part of the Love by Numbers series #2, and it got a 3.88 on Goodreads. I've heard that Sarah McLean writes amazing heroes, and I love a good sweet hero. And so I'm really excited to try her out and check out the step back. I love it. Beautiful dress. Is that his leg? Huh. That looks uncomfortable. Julie Garwood. I read the first chapter of one of her other books for my Try a Chapter challenge of pirate romance, and it was really intriguing. It wasn't the one I wound up going with, but it still looked really good. And I've heard incredible things about this author. This book got a 4.22 on Goodreads. Also rather intriguing, this book is set in 1066. We're talking like the Normans, the Saxons. This is not a time period I've read ever. So I am really excited to give this a whirl. Speaking of other authors, I have one up and I haven't tried yet because I had one more. This is Catherine Coulter, The Countess. It's set in the Gothic period, which I picked this up at the pool. It was on the shelf. Nobody had even touched it. And so I swapped out a book I accidentally bought 2 of. It's part of the Regency series. It's #1, and it got a 3.71. And it's actually a rewrite by Catherine Coulter because she wanted to make it more Gothic as opposed to Regency era. I was super intrigued by that. They even talked about wanting to make the step back look Gothic, and I haven't seen one that looks like this. And I thought, oh my heavens, 3.71, who cares? Get out of here. I'm gonna try this book. Speaking of gorgeous step backs, I've got 2 more for you. Did I buy these books because of the step backs? Yes, I did. But they also look really good. And I got them for like 50 cents. So we don't have to be up in arms about it, right? So this one got a 4.01. It's called Under the Desert Moon. And I mean, look at the raised writing. You know what's so funny? I never cared about this stuff until I started watching booktubers talking about it. And I'm totally drinking the Kool-Aid now. I'm like, oh, it's raised, it's glossy, it's golden, it's beautiful. And then check out the step back. Are you ready? Is this not gorgeous? I love the moonlight on the water and her outfit with the hair. Oh my gosh, the flower. And I believe that's a cowboy hat that he's pouring water on her leg. Look at this. Gorgeous. This is also historical Western. I did a ton of contemporary Western last month for my Try a Chapter challenge. Historical I haven't done yet, and they're talking stagecoaches here. We've got a woman who pretends to be a schoolmarm, but she's actually a sharpshooter, and he is a cowboy. This is in Santa Fe, by the way, and he has a Ute, I believe it's pronounced UTE, Native American companion who he is close with. Oh, and look, there's his gun, I guess, hanging on the thing. Hanging on the branch. So I've shown you Mary Jo Putney step backs in the past. And it's funny, I've had people comment like, Mary Jo Putney step backs are just the best. Now this book is rated only 3.84. It is Petals in the Storm. It's part of the Fallen Angel series. It's #3. I'm telling you though, this step back, and I got this book for 25 cents at a library book sale. So I mean, come on. But look, this is gorgeous. Look at this. I mean, I'm loving the clothing. I'm loving the garden in the background. There's dancing going on. I love this ball. And then who put the barcode there? Who did that? I would like to know. It's so frustrating. Because you can tell there's a hand right there. There's something gorgeous behind this barcode. People, come on. Come on. Here's an author I've heard a ton about. When I was researching Western romance novels, she came up a million times and she's got great reviews. This one particularly is 4.24 on Goodreads. It's number 3 of the McKettrick series, Secondhand Bride, and it's a historical Western. I do want to try historical Westerns at some point, and when I do, she will absolutely be one of the authors that I try. So I'm very excited to have grabbed this copy for 50 cents. And now for something a little bit different. I grabbed this, I read it, and I could not buy this. It's only a 3.78 on Goodreads, but I was so intrigued. I promise I'm not gonna just read you the backs of books in here, but I have to read this. What if hidden in an old attic chest, Jane Austen's memoirs were discovered after hundreds of years? What if those pages revealed the untold story of a life-changing love affair? That's the premise behind this spellbinding novel, which delves into the secrets of Jane Austen's life, giving us this untold insight into her mind and heart. And it talks about how she falls for someone who has such faith in her that she actually decides to rewrite Sense and Sensibility. I was just too intrigued by this not to get it. And so I'm really interested to give this a whirl and see what it's like. Here's another super random one. I couldn't help myself. Down with Love. This movie is one of my favorites. Whenever I'm not feeling well, I pop this in. It's like the 60s on steroids. It's ridiculous and it's super fun. There's music and it's just so cute. This book only got a 3.28 though. I mean, but again, I got it for 50 cents. So, but it's even got pictures from the movie inside. And so if you liked this movie at all, if you haven't seen it, see if you can find it and watch it. It's just so good. It'll make you laugh and smile. I'm gonna read this and see what I think. If you've seen some of my fantasy videos, you are aware that I'm into Sarah J. Maas. Although I still haven't been able to grab myself a copy of A Court and Wings and Ruin, I did snatch the next novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight. So this is like book 3.5 in the series. Now this one only got a 3.80, whereas all the rest of them are at least 4 stars and above. So I'm really excited to try this one. I'm really excited that I own it. Okay. Brown Eyed Girl, The Travises, number 4 of 4. This got a 3.67 on Goodreads. I nabbed it because it was contemporary Lisa Kleypas, and I was very excited about it. Since I purchased this book, though, I have read books 1 and 2 of The Travises, and if you saw my video recapping my reads in August, you will know that I pretty much detested books 1 and 2. I can't imagine a world where I will end up reading this. I am most likely going to be donating it, but I'm gonna peruse it and see. You never know. Or maybe you do. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We have filled my top shelf. And I only have one more shelf. This is gonna be a problem. So speaking again of romance booktubers who I love and authors that they seem to love, we've got 4 books by Stephanie Lawrence. I own 2 of hers already, and I have not found one I'm jiving really well with. I did Lord of the Privateers for my Try a Chapter Challenge for pirate romance. I started her Bastion Club series with The Lady Chosen, but I only got about 100 pages into that. I do have 2 more books from Bastion Club because I would really like to try these out. This is book number 4 at 4.09 on Goodreads. This one scored a 4.16 on Goodreads, and it is number 8 in the series. Before we move on though, I want to show you these beautiful step backs. I love the colors and the fabric. Just gorgeous, and the way the sun hits. Beautiful. It almost looks like ocean waves. Lovely. And then for this one, beautiful. I love cherry blossoms. I don't know if that's what these are, but that's what it's giving me vibes of. The other 2 books I have for her are part of the Sinster series. We've got A Rogue's Proposal and A Secret Love. This is book 4 and this is book 5. Out of 32? And the 32nd was published this year, so there could easily be more. This one is a 4.08 on Goodreads, and this one is a 4.17 on Goodreads. These are all very highly rated. Before we move on though, check out the one with the step back. I love the colors. Looks like we're really going garden in these. Speaking of Stephanie Lawrence, I actually got an anthology that I'm super excited about, and it looks like it's set in winter, so I think I'm gonna read it this winter. It's called It Happened One Night. It's 4 authors: Stephanie Lawrence, Mary Ballo, Jackie D'Alessandro, I hope I said that right, and Candace Hearn. What they've done is they've each imagined what would happen if a woman staying in an inn encountered a man. That sounds really silly. I told you I wasn't gonna read you the back of any more books, but I am gonna read you the inside here, the step back. This is beautiful, by the way. Oh my gosh. Does this not give winter vibes or what? Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm very sorry. 4 romantic stories by 4 best-selling authors. When they were young, he was her protector. Now they meet again, and she's ready to be his lover. So that's one of them. Also, after a stagecoach accident, a beautiful lady is rescued by a charismatic and charming stranger, her husband. What? The 3rd retelling of this: 10 years ago they said goodbye, but she still haunts his dreams and his fantasies. And the 4th retelling of this particular story: his was a life of heroism, hers a life of scandal, but neither forgot the passion that once burned between them. So I'm really excited by this. I think it's gonna be really cool. Like I said, I am obsessed with Lisa Kleypas. I love her so much. And I got 4 more books to add to my collection. I grabbed this. It really wasn't $4.42. I don't know. They resold it again. And I love this. Look at can you tell that this is raised? It's like I thought someone had written on it, like over it, but it's like holiday berries and leaves underneath. It's raised. It's just beautiful. And there's a step back. There's Rafe Bowman and Hannah, and I'm sure they're inside the library in Marcus and Lillian's home in Hampshire, which is just so perfect. I now have all of the Hathaway's books because there's 2 books each in here. And then I got this Mine Till Midnight, which I was so excited by. This is the first in the Hathaway's series, and I just loved it. I just rated this as one of my top 10 books of the whole summer. And yeah, it's 4.08 on Goodreads, so I'm excited that I finally own it. I got another Ravenel's book for 75 cents. I was so excited. Chasing Cassandra. This is number 6 in the series. Now all I need is number 2, Marrying Winterborn, and number 3, Devil in Spring. I have the library books because I'm doing my Summer with Lisa Kleypas challenge right now. So I've got all the books, but 2 of them are library books. Let's look at the step back. We've got Cassandra and Tom Severin. Could that dress be any more beautiful? Oh, it looks like they're at this gorgeous winter ball. Oh, I can't wait to read this. It's coming up. I also got a book by Lisa Kleypas in the Capitol Theater series. I've never read a Capitol Theater series book before. This is number 2, and it got a 3.96 on Goodreads. So I'm excited to try this out, and I'm gonna read the books in order. So if I don't buy the first one before then, I'm gonna check it out from the library. But I just realized you can't really see as I'm adding the books on the second shelf. So there they are. Anyway, talking about authors I'm obsessed with. I love Lisa Kleypas, but if I'm going Highlander, my favorite for now is Harlequin, and I actually got 3 books by her at some various used book sales. And one is Tamed by a Highlander. I love this one. This is book 3 of the Children of the Mist series. It got a 4.07 on Goodreads. I love the Children of the Mist series so much. And this is the only one I own, but you better believe I'm on the lookout for the other 3. I also nabbed number 5 of the McGregor's Highland Heirs series. This I'm going to be reading at Christmas time. It's a Highlander's Christmas Kiss. It's 3.81 on Goodreads, and I couldn't be more excited about it. I was also able to grab number 7, Laird of the Black Isle, which is a 4.21 on Goodreads. That is so high. And again, like, I just love her so much, and I love her Highlander books, so I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. I'm trying to read one of her Highland Heirs books per month until I get through the entire series. I do want to try some other Highland authors. So I grabbed 2 other ones that are very highly rated. This first one is number 3 in the Scots and Swords series of 3 books. It got a 4.58 on Goodreads. And then I realized there were only 259 reviews. So that may be part of why it's scored so high, but it looks really intriguing and I'm excited about trying it. I also grabbed Truly Madly Plaid by Eliza Knight. And this got a 4.13 on Goodreads. It's number 2 out of 3 books in a series for Prince Charlie's Angels. Like Charlie's Angels, but it's Prince Charlie's Angels. Again, this got very, very highly rated. So I'm really excited to try it. And even the back, I guess it's like a step back. Oh, sorry. It can't focus for some reason. but it's a great picture. It's like a step back. So I got a lot more Highlander books, and they're all in the same series by Lindsay Sands. I have never read Lindsay Sands before. I've got a lot of the Highland Brides series, so let's talk a little bit about these. They're all highly rated. I don't know a lot about Lindsay Sands, though. I get the impression that there's a lot of steaminess and maybe not a lot of plot. Like, I don't get that it's overly complicated, but from what I understand, there's not a lot going on plot-wise. So I got all these for like 25 to 50 cents. So if I don't love the style of writing, it's not that big a deal. But I thought, I really want to try to get this series and see. So, because it might be a lot of fun, and they're all super highly rated. So here we go. We've got number 1 in the Highland Bride series. Out of 11 books, this is a 3.90. Looks good. Number 2, a 3.97, To Marry a Scottish Laird. This one has a step back. Something I've noticed about these step backs, it's like it's more interesting on the cover than the step back, I will say. This is a beautiful landscape, and I'm guessing this is heather. You know, and here's a lock, of course, right? And I love her dress. It's beautiful. But you're going to start seeing what I'm talking about in just a minute in terms of less interesting step backs than covers. I don't have number 3, but I do have number 4. Let's talk about this cover, please. Falling for the Highlander. And when I think falling, I'm thinking of, you know, somebody needs to help him with this. It is falling. That may be why this is the title, because, okay. I mean, I'm not complaining, but the poor thing needs a better fit for his kilt. When I saw this cover the first time, I was like, oh my gosh. This is number 4 of the series. It got a 3.94 on Goodreads. I also don't have a number 5, which is Surrender to the Highlander. And that one got a 4.05, so I'm on the lookout for number 5. Number 6, with 4.04 on Goodreads, The Highlander's Promise. And the promise is to have fabulous abs. So this is the cover, and then here's the step back. I see seagulls. And water, I mean, it's pretty. But of course, there's a ton of stuff on top of it, so it kind of takes me out of it. It's an underwhelming step back at best, I feel. More going on in the cover here. Verse 7, 3.96 on Goodreads, The Wrong Highlander. If he's the wrong Highlander, was she looking for a dry Highlander or an unattractive or nerdy looking Highlander? I don't know. What's the wrong Highlander? Here we go again, step back. Waterfall, flowers. Okay. Number 8, Hunting for a Highlander. And I'm guessing she's hunting for this Highlander because I mean, look at the castle in the background. This is a pretty cool cover. This got 4.09 on Goodreads. And again, look at I don't know. I mean, the castle, it doesn't look that great. I can't describe it. And I don't understand why they're doing just scenery for step backs, but okay. And I am missing number 9, which is a Highland Treasure, which was 4.11 on Goodreads. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that one. I don't have number 11, but I do have number 10, Highland Wolf. Highland Wolf, again, we're getting close to showing some tush here. So lucky that the water was as high as it was. I don't know. I'm just curious to see what these books are like. We'll see. I'm wondering how deep these are based on the covers. I know I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I'm wondering. I have 2 more Lindsay Sands that are not part of the Highland Bride series. I've got Lady in Disguise, and the sticker for 50 cents was on his face, and I took it off, and then look what it did to his face. Man, who did that? Who put the sticker on the face? And then I've also got The Chase. This is number 3 of 3. It got a 4.05. Looks good. And then this one is a standalone. It got a 3.87. So we shall see just how magical it is. Still continuing with the Highlander thing, but now we're talking paranormal as well. I have had so many of my viewers tell me to check out Karen Marie Moaning. Moaning. Interesting. Okay. I didn't think about that until I just said it out loud. But anyway, she does werewolf Highlanders. And people have said it's very good. I got this at a book sale and I was like, okay, I'm excited to try this. And I'd like to try it in October because werewolves, Halloween, all that good stuff. So this is number 6 of the Highlanders series. It's just called the Highlanders. And it got a 4.30 on Goodreads. So we're werewolves, we're Highlanders. That's all I need to know. We've also got, yes, another Lindsay Sands Highlander book with Hannah Howell, who I know is an author in her own right of romance novels. This got a 4.20 on Goodreads, but this is not a werewolf. This is a vampire. So we got Vampire Highlanders, and Werewolf Highlanders. What will we see next? Cressley Cole. I really enjoyed her pirate book that I read for my Tri-Chapter Challenge of Pirate Romance. So when I saw another Immortals After Dark book, because a lot of people really like that series, there's 18 books. I have the 5th one, and now I have the 6th one. And this one got a 4.31 on Goodreads, so I am really eager to try this. Okay, I am so excited. I have been trying to collect all of the Bridgerton novels and all of the Rokesby novels, which are the Bridgerton prequels. Well, I finally completed my set. I got book 4 and book 7. This is a 3.97 on Goodreads. This is a 4.01. This spring, I am planning on reading all of these, watching the first 2 seasons, putting it all up on YouTube. I also wanted to show you, this one has a step back, and I thought this was lovely. As I said, I got the other 2 Rokesbys. Now I have all 4. I've got First Comes Scandals, which is the last book in the series, the 4th, and it's got a 3.82 on Goodreads. This one got a 4.02 on Goodreads, and this is number 3 in the series. I already have Because of Miss Bridgerton, which is number 1, and The Girl with the Make-Believe Husband, which is number 2. I saw another Julia Quinn that I didn't have. I had to nab it up. This is part of the Smythe-Smith Quartet, which I have heard a lot of good things about. It's only got a 3.66 on Goodreads, so I'm a little wary about it, but I've heard good things about the series, so I'm going to try it. Christy of Christy Reads a Lot would be proud because I have quite a few Lorraine Heath here. Actually, maybe she wouldn't be proud. She's got way more. Does she say how many in her video, her Lorraine Heath video, how many Lorraine Heath books she has? I need to know. I can't remember. I'm going to start with her most recent series, I believe. I am not an expert on Lorraine Heath, but I want to be. This is number 1 of the Once Upon a Dukedom series. It got a 3.94. It was published last year. Scoundrel of My Heart. Very excited. And I also have number 2, which is The Duchess Hunt. It was published in 2021 as well. And the only one I don't have, I mean, there could be more beyond 3 because the 3rd one was published this year. The Return of the Duke, which got a 4.05 on Goodreads. So I am excited to try this. So there are 6 books in her Sins for All Season series, and I have 4 of the 6. I'm very excited. I'm missing numbers 1 and 2, but I do have number 3, The Scoundrel in Her Bed, with a 3.94 on Goodreads. I have The Duchess in His Bed, which got a 3.66 on Goodreads. Number 5 at 3.92 on Goodreads, The Earl Takes a Fancy. And the last one, Beauty Tempts the Beast, number 6 of 6 at 4.17 on Goodreads. You would think I got all these at the same time, but I collected them over months. So this one is number 1 of the London's Greatest Lovers series, and it got a 3.80 on Goodreads. I am only missing number 2, which is The Pleasures of a Notorious Gentleman. This is book 3 of 3, Waking Up with the Duke, and it got a 4.03 on Goodreads. I have 5 more books, and this is how much space I have left. Is this gonna fit? Oh, it's gonna fit! It's going to fit. Okay, let's do this. It's gonna just fit. So I've been trying to collect more of Eloisa James's The Wilds of Lindo Castle. I already have My Last Duchess, which is the prequel, considered 0.05 or 0.5 of the series. This is book 1, Wild in Love, and check out the step back. Gorgeous. I love it. This got a 3.81 on Goodreads. I have book 2, which is Too Wild to Wed, and book 3, Born to be Wild. Okay, so I don't have book 4, but I do have book 5, Say Yes to the Duke, and check out this step back. It's a more close-up than I'm used to seeing, and I love the detail. Number 6, The Wilds of Lindo Castle, at 4.05, Wild Child. Now my books are falling. I mentioned in my last book haul video that I fell in love with romance through Eloisa James's Desperate Duchesses and Desperate Duchesses by the Numbers, and I wanted to have them for myself. I have 2 more now. I already have Desperate Duchesses number 1 and Affair Before Christmas number 2. Now I have number 3, which is Duchess by Night. It got a 3.92 on Goodreads. And here is a beautiful step back. Love it. And I have book number 9, 7 Minutes in Heaven, which also has a lovely step back. See, I feel like if they're gonna do scenery, this is how it's done. I think these look much better than the Lindsay Sands Highlander ones, but that's just my opinion. These books were all terrific. I love them. There's 9 books in the series, so this is the last. It got a 3.95 on Goodreads. So now you can watch me try to make these all fit on my shelf. These are my last 2. And they just fit. Let's take a look. Yes. They're not even the same length. I don't know. So, honey, I'm gonna need another shelf. I was so excited when I found out my local library was doing a fill-a-bag sale. You take as many books as you can fit into a bag and you pay $10. I wound up getting 3 bags. 1 was for my kids, but 2 were for me. I like to buy books on sale, and I also like to use my Goodreads app. So if a book has a 4.0 or better, I will usually pick it up if I'm already interested in it. The only books I end up grabbing that are below a 4.0 are generally if I'm excited about that series or that author. So I have to start with my favorite historical romance author, Lisa Kleypas. I was so insanely excited to get Scandal in Spring. This is the 4th book in the Wallflower series. I have every one of them now except for It Happened One Autumn. I'm so excited. This one got a 4.03 on Goodreads. And you know what else is really funny? Somebody wrote on here, mail check. That's an interesting way to remind oneself to do things. In fact, I think I'll make a note right now. Start writing on covers of books to remind myself to do things. Yeah. No. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would buy a book knowing full well that I already own that book. But I already had Stranger in My Arms. And when I saw this, though, I couldn't help myself. Are you ready? This is the other one. And look how gorgeous the cover is. I am in heaven right now. And I got this as part of a $10 fill a bag sale. I can't even. Check out the gorgeous step back as well. I love the roses, all different colors. And of course, you know those colors all mean something different. And I love the dress and the oh my gosh, the nape of the neck. I'm reading the Stay a Spell series right now, and that author is so into guys who hold girls by the napes of their neck. It's not even funny. Also, check out the manor in the background. I have a feeling we will be seeing that in this book. Now, this only got a 3.77 on Goodreads, but as I said, I'm in love with Lisa Kleypas. I'm in love with this step back. And I can't wait to give this a try. I have the first 2 of the Bow Street Runner series already. There they are, right there. Someone to Watch Over Me and Lady Sophia's Lover. I just completed my set, worth any price. And check out the step back. Oh my gosh, another step back. I know. I love the necklace on the back and the color. This beautiful fabric. I love the way the light plays on everybody. This one got a 4.02 on Goodreads. I've heard such fabulous things about the Gamblers of Craven series, so I've been really excited to try it, and I just got the first book, Then Came You. It got a 3.97 on Goodreads, but it gets better. I also got book 2. I had a copy, actually, of book 2, but I couldn't help myself because, again, look what we're dealing with here. We've got a gorgeous, gorgeous cover, and then you open it, and look at the step back! And it is none other than Derek Craven, who apparently, from what I've heard, is one of the best historical romance heroes of all time. And sorry about the glare. I am so excited to read this. I can't even tell you. This series, I am all over this. The next series I read of Lisa Kleypas is 100% going to be this series. I cannot wait. Look how lovely. That's our Derek Craven. I don't know him yet, but I'm looking forward to meeting him. Oh, and this book got a 4.18 on Goodreads. So now I'm going to talk about Julia Quinn, Minx. And what's so interesting is, believe it or not, that actually relates back to Gamblers of Cravens. Let me explain how. This is book 3 of the Splendid trilogy, also known as the Blyden Family Saga series. This got a 3.86 on Goodreads. Now, the book after this is a novella. And what's so cool is it's in the same anthology as the novella that comes after this book. It's called Where's My Hero? And there's another, I'll put it up over here. There's another author author who's also featured in it. You better believe after I finish Gamblers of Cravens and maybe I'll get into Splendid, I'm going to read Where's My Hero, and I'll be able to see a novella from each. And how cool that they're in the same anthology. I don't own it, but it's at my local library. I already checked. Okay, talk about being a repeat offender. So I already own book 5 of the Bridgerton series, To Sir Philip with Love. But guess what I found? Boom! To Sir Philip with Love with a step back. Yes. Is this not gorgeous? I was so excited when I saw this. I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have it. And again, filling a bag for $10. So come on. And now this one will join my pile that I'm taking with me when I go on my book hunt, which I will put in a video about free little libraries. So I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to be donating more or getting more, but either way, it'll be a fun video, I think. You want to talk about some interesting step backs? I got a couple. They're contemporary. Did you know that was even a thing? I did not. I always thought step backs were historical, but apparently they can be contemporary. And so I have 2 here in the same series by Kristen Fian. I was willing to take a chance on something I had never tried before based on the ratings and the fact that I could just fill a bag for $10. So what a great opportunity to try out new authors, I tell you. This one is the Drake Sisters #4, and this one is the Drake Sisters #2. There are 6 books in total. This one got a 4.30 and this one got a 4.23 on Goodreads, and they have a lot of reviews. So you know these are good. And honestly, the subject matter might be a little bit heavy for my taste, but I'm definitely willing to give it a whirl. These women are not actually technically sisters. They've all 6 of them have been through quite a bit in their lives. They buy land together. It's like a giant farm, and each of them has their own home on this huge amount of farmland. And they wind up in each story finding a man who is quite a warrior in his own right. And they basically make him an even better man. So I'm really intrigued by these. I want to give them a try. And let me show you the step backs. Okay, you ready? So here we have Dangerous Tides. She's pulled by the forceful desires of 2 men and in danger of being swept away. Love triangle, anyone? Yes, please. And here is the step back. It's not historical, but you won't see me complaining. Whoever thought you'd see a helicopter in a step back? Spirit Bound. She was the obsession of 2 men. Another love triangle. Interesting. And apparently here's just one of them. I just realized I forgot one of my Julia Quinn. Let me show you, because it has a step back on the back cover, which thanks to Instagram the other day, they told me it still counts as a step back if it's on the back cover. So thank you to those of you doing the public service and educating myself. We have Brighter Than the Sun, which I love this cover. This is raised. I love it, love it. And then check out the back. I've got my notes on the back here. This is book 2. Oh, look at this. And someone put tape on this. And poor little thing, his head is partly missing. But I love this. I mean, who doesn't love a gal on a swing being pushed by a gorgeous man whose shirt is falling off? This is book 2 of the Linden Sisters, and it got a 3.91 on Goodreads. Okay, let's talk contemporary for a minute here. I fell in love with Cara Bastone. If you've seen me, I've done like 10 videos on Cara Bastone's Audible originals. They're part of Audible Plus, blah, blah, blah. I've told you this so many times, I'm sorry. But they were so much fun. I loved her books that were basically like a meet cute. They were part of the Love Line series. And when I found out through Christy of Christy Reads a Lot that she also does real books, not just Audible stuff, I was really excited to try to find something. And I have found 2 of her 4 books. They're part of the Forever Yours series. This is number 1, and it got a 3.99 on Goodreads. There is one though before this, 0.5, the prequel, When We First Met. So I'm on the lookout for that one. And then this one is Forever Yours, as I said, number 3. This one was published last year, so there very well could be more. And this one got a 4.14 on Goodreads. So both got great reviews. The only full-length novella that I need that's between these 2 is Can't Help Falling. And don't you know, I'm going to be hunting for that one so hard. I'm just beyond excited to read these. Have you ever been looking at a historical romance novel and you thought there was a step back, but it was a total tease?
That's what Mary Jo Putney did to me. As you may know, she often has incredible step backs. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, it's going to be amazing. And it's nothing. There's no step back there. I was a little disappointed. By the way, you know you've made it when your name is way bigger than the title. This got a 3.95 on Goodreads. It's number 4 of the Lost Lords series out of 7. I love how the series is described. It says, in this Regency romance series, Mary Jo Putney introduces the Lost Lords, maverick childhood friends with a flair for defying convention. Each is about to discover the woman who is his perfect match, but perfection does not come easily. Here is a step back that did not disappoint, an actual step back in Galen Foley's My Dangerous Duke. Check this one out. I've never heard anything about Galen Foley before. I've never read her before. But again, the fact that I could just put it in a bag for $10 total, I was totally willing to go for it. It got a 3.92 on Goodreads. And look at this. It's got the old Borders sticker on it. Remember Borders? I used to love to go there. Anyway, let me get to the point about this series. It actually sounds really cool. So this is book number 2 in the Inferno Club series. They all got pretty decent ratings. None of them got a 4-star, but like 3.8, 3.9 for the most part. So the series is described like this. A scandalous gathering of wealthy libertines and high-born rake hells devoted to their wicked pleasures. So the club's members are known to London society. But little does the world suspect the true purpose of the Inferno Club, or the danger that looms over England with these select, powerful lords and what they are secretly sworn to fight. Recruited as lads from the noble families, trained in an array of deadly arts, and sent into various countries throughout Europe to hunt down and destroy their targets, they are the operatives of an agency so secret that few beyond the crown and a few top officials even know it exists. I am ready to join the Inferno Club right now. I was able to nab 2 more by authors I've yet to read but have heard fantastic things about. This one got a 3.95. Now, this one is part of the Royal Brotherhood series. It's number 3 of 3. It is actually a prequel series to another very popular series called The School for Heiresses. This one got a 4.11 on Goodreads. If you've seen my videos, you've probably seen me going on about Paula Quinn. The series I'm reading right now, the McGregor's Highland Heirs, I am not as enamored with, which is a disappointment, but I was still excited to find the 8th book in that series. I'm still giving it a chance. I'm still holding out hope. This one is, as I said, the 8th of 8, and it's actually got a 4.03 on Goodreads, which is far above just about any of the other books in the series. So I'm really excited to own this, and I want to read it and I want to love it. Continuing with Highlander, because you know I love a little Highlander now and then. I got 3 by Hannah Howell. Now, I have never read Hannah Howell. Again, taking those risks because I'm filling a bag. She did some with Lindsay Sands, I noticed, and I thought that was interesting, but then I wanted to read her on her own. Holy cow. Okay, let's talk about this for a sec. So we've got, first of all, I don't usually see a man's face this apparent. Normally they're sort of hidden, but I don't think I mind very much. This got a 4.07 with a ton of reviews. But I have to say, I was hopeful that it was part of the Murray family series, because let me talk to you about this. Okay, so most of her Highlander are part of the Murray series. Now, there are 22 books in the Murray family series, and they all have 4-star or above reviews. You don't see that. And these have thousands and thousands of reviews. I'm just amazed. And I'm really, really eager now to read this series. This one is number 11 with a 4.21. This one is number 3 with a 4.19. So I also wound up with Highlander mixed with a little fantasy. I've got 2 right here that I'm going to tell you about. I'll start with this one. On the cover immediately, I was like, wait a minute, what? When I saw this. Highland Knight. It's number 3 of 3 with the Ghosts series by Cindy Miles. This looks darling. They really are ghosts. So we have real life contemporary women with real ghosts. This got a 4.10. So he was in a battle 7 centuries ago, and disappears into the mist. Well, he and his men have been just kind of going around for centuries trying to figure out why they're in sort of the in-between, if you will. Well, he discovers Amelia like 7 centuries later and goes into her dreams because he's so intrigued by her. However, it's not all sunshine and flowers because a sinister presence is going to threaten their love. So The Dark Highlander, I accidentally bought 2 copies of this. So now it's adding to my stack for the free little library. But this is number 5 of the Highlander series with a 4.27. I already have the Immortal Highlander, which was number 6. So I have 5 and 6 right now of 8. These are all very highly reviewed, and I'm just really, really excited to try this. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they think, based on my tastes, that I would love this. So this one in particular, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give it a try. Our heroine ends up going back in time to Scotland. Our main character is in New York City present day, but he is from hundreds of years ago. Even though he's existing amongst the people today, he's also fighting druids who have his soul captive. Apparently he's an alpha male, which is not my favorite thing, but we'll give it a try. So I already have 2 of the Immortals After Dark series by Cressley Cole. I have gotten 2 more. Dark Needs at Night's Edge, which is number 4. This is Wicked Deeds on a Winter's Night, which is a 4.34. These are all rated so highly. They both look like a lot of fun. And speaking of winter, I also got a winter book. This is not paranormal, but it's called Winter Fire. This got a 3.97. I've never tried Elizabeth Lowell before, but as I said 5 times already, I'm sure, fill a bag, try new things. It might be too dark for me or just too heavy. We have Orphaned at 13, A Mail Order Bride at 14, Widowed at 16. Sarah Kennedy has learned to depend on no one but herself. She then winds up caring for a Civil War soldier. He's a veteran. He has dealt with tragedy as well. So I don't know if this is going to be too heavy for me, but it sounds like their love conquers all. And I'm curious to at least try it. I just realized I wasn't stacking these over here, so you can't see them growing over here. This is a problem. Continuing on with a little more historical romance, here's an author that I'm familiar with. I've started 2 of her books. They didn't quite jive with me, but I still want to keep going because I've heard such incredible things. I want to try more and see if maybe we can find a good match. So this one is a 3.91. This is not part of a series. The Lady Risks All. It says Neville Roscoe, notorious and enigmatic, lives resolutely outside society, bound only by his own code of honor, until challenged by his desire for one woman he cannot have. Miranda Clifford is a lady imprisoned by rigid respectability, until tempted by a passion beyond her power to deny. Flung together in peril. Oh, there's peril. Through danger and intrigue, they discover a love impossible to ignore or keep. Oh, what's gonna happen? So it's funny, when I was first finding Stephanie Lawrence, everything I was finding was Bastion Club. And then I just grabbed 3 Sinster novels. And in fact, I even have a 4th that's related, but I'll get into that in a moment. This one is a little bit confusing because it's book 1 of the Sinster Sisters duo. And I have book 2 actually, which I was very excited about. So this got a 3.84. It's also considered number 19 in the Sinster series. We also have the Sinster Next Generation series, and she's written 12 of those, the 12th published just this year. The series is described as the contrast of gracious and elegant manners forming a wafer-thin facade over strong and dominant male emotions, such as possessiveness and protectiveness, is a constant throughout the Sinster books, which means I may not like it. The affinity of such warrior males for strong-willed women, starting to like it, and the ability of their chosen ladies to exact complete and unswerving commitment to themselves, marriage, and family forms the central tenet of the series. So it sounds really interesting. And again, there's like 32 books in the series. I got book 8 and book 11. This one got a 4.16 on Goodreads, and this one got a 3.95. Now, let's take a look at the step back. Could this stubborn, beautiful woman be his bride? You see the church in the background. I love the wedding dress. I love the flowers and the sky. Oh, it's lovely. I'm almost more excited about this. This is part of the Casebook of Barnaby Adair series. This is number 1. This is called Where the Heart Leads. It says that it's a Sinister novel. It's certainly born out of the Sinister novels. It will contain the investigations that follow after Barnaby, Penelope, Stokes, and Griselda as they come together. So they're all mysteries. And I think that is so neat. There's 7 with novellas. So I can't wait to try these out. And this one got a 3.95 on Goodreads. And guess what? There's a step back. A gorgeous step back. Look at that. Oh, I love it. What more can we say? It's gorgeous. So jumping back into contemporary, I was so excited to pick up this entire series and pop it in my bag. We've got the Crazy Rich Asian series. I have all 3 of the books. This one got only a 3.98 on Goodreads, which I was shocked. Everyone I know that's read this said they loved it and that they loved the movie. I've never read the movie. I've never read the movie, and I've never seen the book. This got over 400,000 reviews. This one only got 188,000 reviews, but it got a 3.84 on Goodreads. And this one got the highest rating of all with a 3.94 with 151,000 reviews. I love this. They refer to this series as like Dynasty on steroids with more private jets, bigger houses, and a lot more money. That sounds so fun. Jumping back to paranormal for a minute. I know this is spooky season, so I was really excited. I was so excited to get this book. I was going to be doing this book anyway because I had an audio copy through my library. And I was going to be doing it for my Try a Chapter challenge on witch romance. And then I saw this and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have this. This has a 3.95 on Goodreads. It was initially 4 when I chose it. But anyway, this is a really cool book, not even talking about the plot, but the paper is like the old school. I love the ripped pages. Or I'm not certain what that's referred to as, but I thought that was beautiful. We got Miss Roberts herself on the back in Ireland. I'm sure maybe that's where she became inspired to write this book. And then the inside, beautiful. I'm sure this is very important in the story. But I love it's just so inventive, this cover. And it's part of the Cousins O'Dwyer series, from what I understand. Very well loved. I've heard a lot of my bookish friends online talk about really liking this. So I'm excited to try this. Julie Garwood. A lot of people love her. I have not yet had the pleasure, but I'm looking forward to it. I grabbed one of her contemporary novels the other day, and it's called Sweet Talk. This is number 10 of the Buchanan Reynard series. From what I gather, it's about the FBI, so it's going to be very exciting. This got a 4.0 on Goodreads, and here's the step back. City skyline, sunset, beautiful. But from what I gather, these are very like Law and Order type. There's crime, there's lawyers, there's FBI. It's very exciting, but there's also romance. I'm eager to try a suspense romance. This is one of her historical romance. Most of the ones I grabbed were. This got a 4.16 on Goodreads, and it is book 2 of 2 of the Laird's Fiancés series. So the other one was really highly rated. I'm intrigued. I also grabbed, and believe it or not, I didn't get all of the ones she had because I thought, okay, let me stop, because what if I don't like this author? I don't want to take all of the books. But these are 3 standalone. I'll tell you about each. We've got Rebellious Desire, which is a 3.97. You have a British gentleman who wants to own a woman essentially, but not really be in love with her. You have a lady from Boston. She really wants to claim him, but he's not interested. However, there is some danger that happens that brings them close together. A desire born in danger, but destined to flame into love. That last part was from the book. Well, this one was a surprise. I mean, maybe not to people that love Julie Garwood, but I didn't realize she would do a Western as well. This begins in England, but it's set in Montana. It sounds like a marriage of convenience. She's really not interested in the ranch lifestyle, but winds up loving it and the man who is willing to pretend to marry her. This got a 4.05 on Goodreads. I love the title, Gentle Warrior. It's set in feudal England. Yes, that is a castle. We have a woman who needs help, so she disguises herself as a peasant and basically tries to enlist the help of a gallant man. How often do you hear the word gallant anymore? I'm in love with what I'm already understanding about this book, and I cannot wait to read it. Julie Garwood did a series that was very well loved called Highland Lairs, and I actually got 2 books from the series. I am so excited. The Secret, which many people have told me is one of their favorite books of all time. It got a 4.25 on Goodreads. And Ransom, which I have seen everywhere. People talk about it all the time. It got a 4.32 on Goodreads. This thing is a beast though, almost 550 pages. I'm just so excited though to try to tackle these. I've just heard such incredible things about this series. And check out the step back. Yes, it's just scenery, but it's lovely scenery. This may not be a regular romance novel, so word to the wise. This is part of a series called The Tea Rose. It got a 4.20 on Goodreads. It looks like it could be women's fiction, but there is a touch of romance. I am excited about this. We have Fiona and Joe. They are sweethearts who both work in the same tea warehouse and are hoping to one day open a tea shop of their own. This is set in East London in 1888. Apparently something happens to her that has her fleeing to the United States. She winds up though becoming one of the top of Manhattan's tea trade, which I find fascinating. However, the old demons are threatening to return. So she has to go to London to face things head on. And apparently dealing with her past will also be a key to her future. Do you ever want a book that could double as a doorstop? Bam! Amanda Quick! I got a fair and the paid companion. 3.9, 3.96. I wouldn't necessarily have bought these because they're not 4.0s and I don't know this author yet, but I've heard fabulous things. And again, filling a bag for $10. I'm sorry I keep saying that. I was really excited to find this one too. Here's another hardback by Johanna Lindsay. Now, I have never read her before, but I've heard great things. Get a load of this one. It is just gorgeous. I love the horse grazing in the field, that castle there. So gorgeous. And of course, I mean, gosh, let's talk about the sleeves of this dress and the colors. And it got a 4.06 on Goodreads. Okay, so I broke my rule for this book. I've never read this author. I don't know anything about her. This only got a 3.76, but I went ahead and bought it because of the plot. It looked so fascinating to me that I thought I need to at least give this a try. We've got Lydia and Freddie. They are in love, but then he suffers a tragic accident. He passes away, and then she's trying to move on with her life when she actually is able to time travel back and be with Freddie again. So she has to decide which life she's going to choose. Is it going to be the life with Freddie, or is it going to be the new life with a potential new love that she is carving out for herself? I love stories like this. I love the movie Sliding Doors. I loved Lionel Shriver, I believe her name is, The Post-Birthday World, or The Midnight Library. Anything where you can choose various lives. I'm just fascinated by that type of book. And so when I saw this, I had to grab it. And at some point I'm going to try it. And if I don't like it, I just popped it in a bag for $10. Okay, this is not a romance novel at all, but I am a huge fan of Lucille Ball, and I saw this. It was $3. This was not part of the bag. This only got a 3.83 on Goodreads. I recently listened to her book, Love, Lucy, which was her autobiography, which her daughter found after Lucy passed away. Her daughter actually narrates the book. I love that I'm talking to you about another book while I'm pulling this book up. But if you want to hear a good book that's about Lucy from her mouth, read by her daughter. So from her daughter's mouth too. It's called Love, Lucy. And so I'm looking forward to perusing this as well. I just love Lucille Ball. Couldn't pass it up for $3. And now come the other two that I didn't even buy at that day at the library. They are romance, however, contemporary romance. An author that I am excited about, who you probably already know about. Emily Henry, The People We Meet on Vacation, and Beach Read. I got each of these for 20% off at Target, as you can see on the cover. I really want to read more Emily Henry. I loved the book Book Lovers. It was one of my favorite reads of the summer. One of my fabulous bookish friends on YouTube here, she was talking about how she read Beach Read and loved it, and she's currently reading People We Meet on Vacation vacation, and she says it's not quite as good, which is pretty much exactly what is reflected in their reviews as well. This one got a 3.96 and this one got a 4.06. I'm looking forward to both of these rom-coms and trying them out next summer. Well, there you have it, all my books. I spent $20 on most of these books. How exciting is that? Now I just need shelves of some kind, and maybe that'll happen next time. Several weeks ago, Audible emailed me and told me that everything on my wish list was on sale. Really, Audible? Everything on my wish list is on sale? Actually, it was. And I'm going to tell you about my Audible sale haul today. If you have an Audible subscription, put everything that you might even be potentially interested in on your wish list, because you will get an email letting you know when these things were on sale. In fact, even this morning, and I'm going to throw it in this video, I got 2 books that were on my wish list for 1 credit, which was great. Everything that was on my wish list was indeed on sale. However, not everything was on sale for $2 or $3. Some of it was on sale for like $8 or $10. I only chose the ones that were $2 or $3. I got a lot, and I'm going to be telling you about those today. Just to make things a little interesting, I decided to put these in order based on their Goodreads rating. So we're going to start with the highest one, which is 4.44, and we're going to go to the very lowest one, which was a 3.39. I didn't ever plan to buy a book that was a 3.39. You might be surprised what it is. Is that a shameless attempt to get you to watch all of this video? You bet it is. Anyway, don't listen to me. Although, listen to me. Let's do this. The highest rated book I got was Something Old, Something New by Beverly Jenkins. I have yet to read her, and I have had her on my list for quite some time. I'm excited to try this out. However, I think I probably need to read books 1 and 2 of her series first. This is part of the Blessings series. It's book number 3, and apparently this is all about the wedding of the 2 characters who everyone has come to know and love in the first 2 books. As I said, this is the highest rated book that I nabbed at a 4.44, which is really saying something. You almost never see a book this highly rated. Holy cow, let's talk about the second one. This is a 4.34. It's also Beverly Jenkins, and the book is called Indigo. I've heard this mentioned many a time by some of my favorite booktubers, so I already know that this one is going to be fantastic. It is a heavier book than I'm used to, but I really want to tackle this. This deals with a woman named Hester. She is the leader of an underground railroad who takes in a gentleman who is so badly injured that he is unconscious. I think it's sort of an enemies to lovers. He is actually also someone who helps out in the Underground Railroad. He's from a free family in New Orleans. It sounds like it's going to be full of suspense, full of romance. It really sounds exciting. I want to give this a whirl. This next one is a favorite author of mine, Soraya Wilson, and her book is called Once Upon a Time Travel. It got a 4.27 on Goodreads. It follows Emma. She is in present-day London working at a museum when one night she winds up in a closet, somehow in a historic gown, and wakes up the next morning back in time in the early 1800s. She doesn't know how she got there or how she can get back, but she winds up falling for a gentleman. He is supposed to be setting her up with his brother because she's actually being mistaken for someone else who is of that time. And despite the fact that he's supposed to set her up with his brother, he develops feelings for her. I cannot wait to see what Soraya Wilson does with this time travel book, and the fact that it's a 4.27, I mean, you know it's good. By the way, this book is on Kindle Unlimited, but I really wanted to be able to listen to it too. I just had to get The Friend Zone, which is book 2 in the Game On series by Kristen Callahan. I read the third one as part of my trying sports romance deal based on Christy of Christy Reads a Lot's recommendation. I really thought it was steamy and fun. So when I saw that the second book was on sale, I had to grab it. This follows some of the same characters that you see in the third book. This is about Gray and Ivy. Gray is a football player and Ivy is the daughter of his PR person, I believe. And she does not want to get involved with anyone who is a client of her dad's, but I don't think she can help it because this guy is super smoking. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be fun, just like the third book, so I'm excited to try out another book in this series. And it got a 4.15 on Goodreads. Another Kristen Callahan came up at a 4.14 on Goodreads. This one's called Fall. It's part of the VIP series, which I have not read yet. This series, I believe, follows rock stars and maybe movie stars, but I'll have to find out. This one in particular is a rock star. The summary was very interesting. interesting. They meet over a pint of mint chocolate chip at a supermarket, and he tries to get it away from her, and she kisses him to distract him, and apparently it works. And then it turns out that they're neighbors, so they might have to kiss a couple more times. And she also said that he plays guitar naked, which is just terrible. Just terrible. Anyway, it looks like it's a lot of fun, although she does mention that his darkness matches her own. So maybe it's not all fun and games, but it looks like it's going to be cute and funny, and I am excited. Oh man, does this one sound good. This one is Sabrina Jeffries. I have not read her yet, and I've really been dying to. This book got a 4.13 on Goodreads. It's called A Lady Never Surrenders. It's book 5 of the Hellions of Halstead Hall series. This is a girl. She needs to get married in order to get the money that she's been promised by her deceased parents. Well, she hires a guy, he's a Bow Street runner, to investigate 3 men that she feels would be the perfect guys for the job. I thought initially this was going to be a marriage of convenience, but it turns out I think she's fallen for this Bow Street runner. And I think the feeling might be mutual. However, here's something else too. There's some mysteries uncovered regarding the death of her parents. This looks like it's going to be suspenseful, super interesting, super romantic, and I'm here for it. This next one is one that's on everybody's list. I've heard this title more times than I can count. The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. It's a 4.11 on Goodreads. This is a marriage of convenience, I believe. I've never read it. I've wanted to. I've been told though that Kerrigan Byrne is a little bit dark, so I'm keeping that in mind because I don't really do dark. But I mean, I could try it. Farah needs protection, and Dorian, who is apparently a villain, is willing to give that to her. Maybe she turns him into a reformed man by the end. I think her love might just save him, and I think his love might just save her. And this is actually the first book in the Victorian Rebels series. So this one I've already read, Conquered by a Highlander. I love this book so much. It's book 4 of the Children of the Mist series by Paula Quinn. You may have seen me talk about this before at the very start of my BookTube channel when I was all about Highlander. This book follows Colin McGregor, who I did not like in the first 3 books. I didn't even know if I was going to like this book at all, but everybody was gushing and raving about it, so I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Oh my gosh. Colin has matured at this point to a strong, confident, brave spy. He is infiltrating a castle to try to figure out when these bad guys are going to try to attack his king. And in the meantime, he falls in love with this woman who's sort of there against her will. She has been shoved there because she had a child out of wedlock, and he falls in love with her and her son. And I just loved it. I love the love scenes. I love how brave it is. I thought that the narrator did a super job. I really like her voice. And when I had the chance to own this, I thought, oh man, I'm taking it. Ooh, let me tell you about this one. Tessa Bailey. I've never read this author before, dying to read her. So when I saw this book called Asking for Trouble on the Audible sale, I nabbed it for a couple bucks. It's number 4 in the Line of Duty series. We have Brent and Hayden. Brent is a cop, as it says, and he is very different from Hayden, who likes to throw posh parties. But unfortunately for Brent and Hayden, who don't like one another, their best friends are going to get married. So they're forced together quite a bit. Forced proximity, anyone? They do wind up giving in to their attraction one night, and Brent is certain that he wants it to be forever. However, Hayden is supposed to be marrying the son of another CEO in order to save her father's company. What is she going to do? I can't wait to find out. This got a 4.08 on Goodreads. Here comes yet another author I have not yet read, have been dying to read, took advantage when I saw this on Audible for sale for a couple bucks. It's the first book in the Scoundrels of St. James series, In Bed with the Devil. It got a 4.04 on Goodreads. It's about Catherine. She is in big trouble, so she needs to make a deal with the Devil Earl. His name is Lucian, and he's got quite a past. Apparently so does she. And as they uncover the layers of the onions that they are, as they peel away the layers of their lives. This is terrible. Apparently the attraction grows stronger, the love grows stronger, but also the danger. So this looks really fun, really good, and I'm excited to try the first in a series, especially by the great Lorraine Heath, who everyone seems to love. This one sounds crazy. It's actually the second one in the same series, The Scoundrels of St. James. It's called Between the Devil and Desire. It's got a 4.02 on Goodreads, which is only 0.02 less than the previous book I just mentioned. So kind of funny. We follow Olivia, she is not going to even associate with this made man, Jack Dodger, the perfect name for someone that was essentially a street urchin. He came from nothing, and now he owns one of the most successful clubs in London. Everybody's talking about him. What's so fascinating to me is apparently there's a duke involved who I suppose dies and leaves everything to Jack, which means now Olivia is stuck with him, and she is not happy about it. But I think that all turns around. So, looks good and different. Let's head back to Sabrina Jeffries, shall we? This one got a 4.01 on Goodreads. It is, again, the first in a series. Hooray! The Duke's Men. That's the name of the series. This book is actually called What the Duke Desires. We follow our hero and heroine. He is trying to find his long-lost brother who he believed was dead. And apparently, he's going to Paris in the 1800s, which sounds like a lot of fun, with this gal as his pretend bride in order to discover what happened to his brother. So, sounds very interesting. And I want to see what Paris is like in the 1800s. This is one of the ones I grabbed this morning at the 2 titles for 1 credit sale. Phoenix Unbound by Grace Draven. It is the first book in her Fallen Empire series. I'm going to be finishing her Wraith Kings series this month, so I'm really excited to try a new series by Grace Draven. I love her writing, and I cannot wait to jump into this new series. Most of the books in this series got a really high rating, except for the last one, but I'm still excited to try these out. This one got a 4.01 on Goodreads and follows Jeline. She, I think, is a witch, and she comes from a village where they take a woman every year as a sacrifice into this big city. Well, she has somehow evaded death each time, and Azarian, who is a slave in this city, realizes how she's doing it. Well, he's going to blackmail her because he doesn't want to be a slave anymore, and he figures that she can get him out of it. So here is the last of the 4.0 and above books. It's Follow by Tessa Bailey. And in the cover, as you can see, he's helping her clean a ceiling fan or something. I don't know. Kind of a funny picture. Anyway, this is about a woman named Teresa. She is from a gambling den family. So it's like the mafia, and she's trying to get away from it. Well, her brother has been sucked back into all of the craziness, and so she goes to try to help him. Well, in doing so, she encounters a guy who has recently left his life as a very high roller in New York City after he discovers it's all been based on a lie. So he has been traveling around with his Great Dane and has accumulated a ton of followers online, which is, I guess, where the title Follow comes from. So the two of them work together, I believe, to save her brother. It looks very interesting. Here's another book by Kristen Callahan and another hero named Lucian. Who would have thought? This is a 3.99 on Goodreads, and it's called Make It Sweet. I now see why the title is called this, because Lucian is an ex-hockey player turned baker who sends his sweets to her door. She's been going through a hard time because she discovered her boyfriend in bed with someone else. She's a famous actress whose character just got cut, I'm guessing for maybe a soap opera. So she goes to a beautiful estate to sort of lick her wounds in Southern California, which sounds lovely, and meets Lucian, who I suppose is trying to recover himself after a hockey career. I want to do hockey romance in January, so maybe I will fit this in there. I'm excited about that. Okay, anyway, sorry. This book looks very good, and I'm excited to try it next year. This is the other book I got at the 2-for-1 credit sale on Audible this morning. Can't Help Falling by Cara Bastone. It's the second book in the Forever Yours trilogy. I own the physical copy. If you saw one of my recent hauls, I couldn't believe that I was able to nab it for 75 cents. It sounds really interesting. So Seraphine is a psychic. I don't know if she does that for a living or she just has psychic abilities, but apparently she and Tyler, who is a sports writer, don't get along well together at all. She grew up in the foster care system. She wants to be a foster parent herself, but she feels like he would never understand that. So I don't know if they start to have a relationship and then it peters out because he's not interested in kids. Well, guess what? He ends up having one. He is put in custody of a child. He is completely out of his depth. And who comes to save him but Seraphine? I've never read a book with a single dad before because I already have enough children in my life. They're just everywhere. And I don't really need them in books usually, but I'm excited to try this one out. Another Sabrina Jeffries, The Duke's Men, number 3. This book is called How the Scoundrel Seduces, and it is a 3.98 on Goodreads. I don't understand this. This is going to be weird. So We have Olivia. No, we don't. Investigator Tristan, who was actually mentioned in the last Sabrina Jeffries book I mentioned. He is an investigator and he is looking for a particular gypsy. I think he just looks for gypsies in general. We have Zoe, who is described in the summary as pesky. She also wants to find a particular gypsy, so they go off together to find this gypsy. And maybe they also find love. I'm guessing they do. What a strange book. I got another Sabrina Jeffries. I know you're shocked. This one is part of the Swanley Sisters series. It's number 5, called Married to the Viscount. It got a 3.97 on Goodreads. This one also sounds crazy to me. And there's a missing brother again. Lots of missing brothers in Sabrina Jeffries books is what I'm starting to figure out. Or just missing people. They gotta find this person. So he's trying to find this person. His name is Spencer, by the way. Apparently Spencer and Abigail got married. And now he's saying, no, we didn't get married, but everybody saw them get married. So he's like, okay, well, we're married, but it's in name only. And she goes, all right, but how about you just kiss me? And then he goes, okay. And then apparently, whoa, it's like a great kiss. But still, they're focusing on finding his brother. So it's going to be this is going to be interesting. Here's another crazy one that I'm absolutely here for. Dear Enemy by Kristen Callahan. Yes, another Kristen Callahan. Can you tell I'm collecting? This one got a 3.96 on Goodreads. Delilah hates Macon. Macon actually used to date her sister like 10 years ago, and apparently her sister ran off with an important heirloom of Macon's. Well, he wants it back. Unfortunately, Delilah can't find it, but she wants to pay him off, and the way she does that is to become his personal chef. So it appears to me that they're going to be making more than just food in this book. That would be making love. I'm trying to be witty. It's not working. I didn't care for the Travis's series by Lisa Kleypas, which was a contemporary series. You know, I'm a huge Lisa Kleypas fan, if you've seen any of my stuff. And I love historicals. But I really want to tackle her other contemporary series, which is called, I believe, Friday Harbor. I just nabbed this book, which is book 3 of the Friday Harbor series, Dream Lake. It got a 3.94 on Goodreads. I love that this book has a supernatural element to it. We have Alex and Zoe. They are like oil and water, fire and ice. They don't get along, and yet somehow they both end up with this Victorian house that has a ghost in it. The ghost cannot remember why he's there or what unfinished business he has, but apparently Alex and Zoe help him as they help one another and fall in love in this really interesting book. I got this book the other day for 50 cents and I was excited to grab the Audible copy for a couple bucks. It's called With This Ring by Amanda Quick, and it got a 3.93 on Goodreads. It is the first in the Vanza series. I haven't read Amanda Quick yet, but I've heard fabulous things, and I am beyond excited about the step backs that I've gotten by her recently. They're just gorgeous. This actually looks really, really interesting. We have Leo, who is kind of eccentric, a little odd, and Beatrice, who needs his help. She wants to find some hidden rings because she believes that discovering them will help her uncover the reason for her father's death. Well, they start to work together. They start to fall for one another. However, the problem is there is a bad guy out there in the streets of London who knows about these rings. In looking for the rings, they might be looking for their doom. Da, da, da. So I hope I don't regret this, but I got The Taming of Malcolm Grant by Paula Quinn. It is book 4 in the Highland Heirs series. Every single book in the Highland Heirs series so far has been a miss for me. And I've been so disappointed because I loved her Children of the Mist series so very much. This series follows the kids from the Children of the Mist. This actually looks really good. We have Malcolm Grant, who in the previous books is so sexually, like, he's got like a problem. I think he's just like, he might have an addiction based on what I've seen and the way that he talks. But apparently he's injured and he is nursed back to health by a blind woman and he falls in love with her. And I cannot wait to see how this unravels. Here's yet another one by Kristen Callahan. Can you tell which authors I had on my wish list? This one's called Outmatched. It got a 3.89 on Goodreads. It's about a society geek, as she calls herself. She is going to get a brand new job, but unfortunately her boss wants her to be settled in order to get that promotion. Well, enter Reese. He's an ex-boxer, and he decides to pretend to be her boyfriend in hopes that this said boss will sponsor his gym. Apparently, though, they do wind up having feelings for each other. It sounds like this one's going to be good. Here's Rain Shadow Road. Here's the second book of the Friday Harbor series by Lisa Kleypas. It got a 3.87 on Goodreads. This book follows Lucy. Her fiance leaves her for her own sister, and she begins a relationship, thank goodness, with someone new. His name is Sam, and he owns a vineyard, and this is set in the beautiful Pacific Northwest area of the United States, which sounds like it's going to be lovely. I'm not sure their romance is, though. Apparently, he starts to have second thoughts, and old patterns are examined. This sounds like it's going to be a very deep look into relationships and the way people form attachments to one another. It's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. I was able to grab a Tessa Dare, but I haven't been able to mention it until just now because this one only got a 3.86 on Goodreads, which isn't terrible. It's the first in the Stud Club series, and it's called One Dance with a Duke. Spencer is a member of the Stud Club. One of my friends is with me, by the way. He's sick today. So the Stud Club is very exclusive. There are only 10 members.
10.
That's right, 10.
Looks white.
Anyway, they're called the Stud Club, I believe, because they're in horse racing and horses, studs, all that. Amelia decides to appeal to him to forgive her brother's debts, and he may fall in love with her in the process. I'm excited to try a new Tessa Dare. I'm really excited to try this out. We have an anthology set in a winter's night. It's called Seduction on a Snowy Night, in fact. The authors are Madeline Hunter, Sabrina Jeffries, and Mary Jo Putney, all of whom I've been excited to try, and I can't wait to see what each of their stories brings in terms of romance and winter magic. Ooh. This book got a 3.74 on Goodreads. I will definitely be doing this in January or February for a nice cozy winter read. I'm surprised that a Sarah J. Maas book as part of the Court of Thorns and Roses series is only a 3.81 because all the rest of the books are rated so highly. But here we are. The Court of Frost and Starlight is set after the Court of Wings and Ruin, which I still have yet to read. So I was afraid to read the summary because I didn't want it to be a spoiler for what happens in the Court of Wings and Ruin. But I'm still really excited to try out this novella. I own the physical copy and was excited to be able now to listen to it as well. I was able to grab another Tessa Dare. This one only got a 3.74 on Goodreads. This is book 2 of the Wanton Dairymaid trilogy, and it's called Surrender of a Siren. It sounds really good. We have our heroine who wants a fresh start. She poses as a governess in order to board a ship where she meets Gray. He is, I suppose, a sailor perhaps. He falls in love with her art and the lady herself. It sounds like a really good story. Coming in at only 3.53, it's Crystal Cove, the 4th book of 4 in the Friday Harbor series by Lisa Kleypas. I'm still wanting to give this series a try, despite the fact that a lot of these have not been as highly rated. Again, we see a magical element. Justine has had a spell cast on her since the day she was born, where it makes it difficult for her to find love, but I have a feeling she's going to find it. Here it is, the last book, coming in at only 3.39. Ouch! It is called A Lady of Persuasion. Tobias pledges his love to Abigail in a way to get revenge on her brother. What could possibly go wrong? And Isabel, the woman that I've been talking about, she just wants to move up in society, and he's her best way to do it. So I guess this would be a marriage of convenience / revenge. It looks like it's going to be really interesting, especially considering the rating. Let's start with one I got on my Kindle. It's not Kindle Unlimited, but it was free. I found this out through one of my fabulous online friends. It's the prequel in the Black Shear family series, A Christmas Gone Perfectly Wrong by Cecilia Grant, and it got a 3.84 on Goodreads. This is enemies to lovers, although I think they've just met each other, so I don't know how much they could be enemies, but it's also stranded in a snowstorm, which Avery of Ava's Romance Books just did a super video all about Stranded in a Snowstorm. Highly recommend. In any case, this book, Andrew Blackshear needs to purchase a hunting falcon, as we all do in time for the Christmas season. And it sounds really cool, actually. The falconer, because that's a thing, his daughter needs to be driven somewhere through the snow. So they're on one another's nerves, but they figure they're not going to be together very long, so it's not a big deal. However, they do, as I mentioned, get stuck in a snowstorm, so they have to work together, and perhaps they even fall in love. Looks really cool and different. This book sounds crazy. I couldn't help myself but snatch it up. The Christmas Night by Michelle Sinclair. It got a 3.92 on Goodreads. So we've got, it's Christmas tide. This is a long, long time ago. We've got castles, we've got knights, obviously, hence the title. 3 ladies are, they're sisters. They're stranded in their castle while their father is away. Meanwhile, a knight shows up. He's a bad guy. He's supposed to take over the castle. He's going to take the youngest daughter as his bride. Well, the eldest sister, Bronwyn, she's not going to let that happen. She loves her sister too much to allow her to marry this terrible, terrible knight who apparently has great biceps. Anyway, she pretends to be her little sister to spare her sister from having to marry this guy, this ugly, ugly guy. So anyway, he knows that Bronwyn is pretending to be the sister. And so I think he's even more impressed by her. He's going along with it, I think. But he's very intrigued by Bronwyn. What is going to happen? Really, seriously, what is going to happen? This book sounds crazy. Okay, so I read my first Mary Jo Putney recently. It was a Christmas novella, and I'm hooked on this woman. I loved her stepbacks, but now I'm all in terms of stories. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I grabbed a couple of her novellas at the big sale a couple months ago where I grabbed them for like $2.99. And I'll tell you about a couple right now. This is Sunshine for Christmas, a holiday novella. This is one of the secondary characters from her Rita Award-winning The Rake. Lord Randolph Lennox, who lost the gal in The Rake, has a second chance. He is in the doldrums. It's Christmas time. He decides to take a trip to the Mediterranean, winds up in Naples. And an English woman happens to be there. She's lived there for a while as a governess. He asks her if she would be willing to be his guide around Naples. And as she's taking him through Naples at Christmas time, they fall in love. It sounds amazing. I can't wait to try this. And it's only an hour and 50 minutes long. I got a 4.10 on Goodreads. The other Christmas novella that I nabbed for $2.99 in the Audible sale the other day is The Christmas Cuckoo, a 4.0 on Goodreads. This is another one that I'm absolutely, oh, you know what, I have to read this to you. Don't go anywhere, please. Just listen to this synopsis. I'm telling you, this is crazy. Major Jack Howard, a weary veteran of the Peninsular Wars, has just returned to England and intends to return to an unwelcoming family home for Christmas. But when a pompous secretary gives him too many orders, Jack hops on the next stagecoach leaving London, not caring where it's going. Too much whiskey to stave off freezing leaves him sleeping in a different inn. When an attractive young woman asks if he's Jack Howard, he happily goes home with her. Despite vile weather, Meg Lambert drives to the local inn to collect her brother's friend, Jack Howard. But since she's never met the man, she doesn't realize that she's brought home the wrong Jack Howard. Jack realizes her mistake when he awakes the next morning with an aching head, but he finds a warmth and welcome with Meg and her family that he's yearned for all his life. He can't bring himself to admit that he's a cuckoo in her nest. But what will happen when Meg's brother and the right Jack Howard turn up for Christmas? What will happen? I have to know. I just nabbed this at a book sale last weekend. A Christmas Promise by Mary Balogh. I think that's how you pronounce it. Jen of the Book Refuge was talking about her the other day in one of her videos, mentioning how she's not overly scandalous, basically. And I thought, I've been reading a lot of more on the scandalous side, so I wanted something a little bit more light in intensity. So I was excited. I like to try all kinds of things. So I really wanted to try this author. So this book got a 3.7 on Goodreads, and this seems pretty straightforward. This is actually a rather slim book too, just under 300 pages. Actually, that doesn't sound very slim. But anyway, we have the daughter of a coal merchant who is new money, so to speak. And then we have a rake who's got his designs on many women, has zero interest in this woman, but he needs her money and her dowry. So they decide to get married. She's actually interested in a poor man her father is never going to let her be with. So she decides just to follow her father's wishes and marry this guy. Well, apparently they fall madly in love despite the fact that they had zero interest in one another. And it sounds cute and hopefully Christmassy as well. Has anyone seen Virgin River on Netflix? If you have, then you might be interested in this book by Robin Carr. She is the author of the Virgin River series. I guess the series is based on her books. This is actually book 14 in the series. It's quite the series, very large. This got a 4.19 on Goodreads. I don't know if they get stuck in snow, but they're stuck together again. Forced proximity. This is the second one we're seeing. And how many books have I mentioned? Like 4 or 5? So Becca is trying to get over Denny, who broke her heart, has zero interest in him. Apparently he's friends with her brother though. So she goes up to Virgin River to be with them at Christmas time, and Denny is there. I don't know if she knew that when she arrived, but they all get stranded, and I guess they have to face the feelings that they may still have for each other. Looks really interesting. I got this in a free little library way back when. So cool. A Goodreads score of 4.01. This is number 7 of the Whiskey Creek series. This is fairly straightforward. She runs a bed and breakfast. Everybody else around her is happily married and having kids and all that good stuff. And she just feels like in her little town, she's never going to find happiness because she knows everybody there until a handsome stranger shows up at her B&B. And then magic happens. Christmas magic. That's what I get out of this anyway. I got this for $1 at a used bookstore. I was very, very excited. I still haven't read my first Sabrina Jeffries yet, and maybe this will be it. 'Twas the Night After Christmas. It's number 6 in the Hellions of Halstead Hall series, and it's a 3.95 on Goodreads. This book sounds really interesting. I know I'm saying that about all of them, but this is very different. So he never wants to come home for Christmas again. Apparently he's had very bad Christmases in his past. And he is told by someone from his home that his mother is ill. So he comes home to find Camilla. And it's a ruse. His mother is actually fine. They just all wanted him to come home to reconcile with the family and maybe Camilla, I'm not quite sure. But he says he's got some stipulations if he's going to stay. And maybe one of those stipulations is they need to fall in love. It looks really interesting and quite good. All right, I know I keep saying this, but this one looks really crazy. You may have seen this in my book hunt when I was at a used bookstore. Grabbed this for $3. One Day in December by Josie Silver, not to be confused with Elsie Silver. This one got a 3.89 on Goodreads. We see a woman who is in love. Wait, this is confusing. Lori sees a man on a bus. I'm not sure if she's on the bus or he's on the bus. Somebody's on a bus. I think she's on the bus. Okay, so anyway, she sees him through the bus window and realizes he's the one. She just knows. It's love at first sight. And this book follows 10 years worth of Decembers where she meets with him. And do they end up together? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they have other loves as well. But the next time she sees him after spending so much time looking for him, do you know who he's with? One of her best friends. Oh my gosh. Intrigue, scandal. What's going to happen? I'm very curious. So I got this at a library sale for 50 cents after I got it on Audible because I was so excited. This is Highland Heirs book 5. I love Paula Quinn. Well, I love her Children of the Mist series. I'm trying to like her Highland Heirs series. We're working on it. But this is book 5. We have Temperance. She is nursing a man back to health. She found him in the woods. Turns out this guy is the Black Rider. He is like a killer for hire, essentially. And he's coming to terms with that and what he's become as he's being nursed back to health by her. And he's also falling for her. So it looks like it could be really neat. If you enjoy a good nursing back to health, this might be the perfect Christmas book for you. I got this book for 75 cents at a book sale. And then I also got it for $2.99 on Audible during their sale. So I was really lucky because I've only read one story so far from Mary Jo Putney's and I fell head over heels in love. I have a vlog coming out about that, or maybe it's out already, but Mary Jo Putney, oh my gosh, so good. So the first story I've read in this one is just heaven. I'm hoping that all the rest are just as good. These seem like older type romance writers from the older school, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. So a lot of good Christmassy romance vibes. And it got a 3.79 on Goodreads. Oh wait, there's more. Mischief and Mistletoe, the exact same ladies. You probably saw me mention this in my December TBR. I haven't had a chance to read any of these yet because this month is crazy. This one got a 3.62 on Goodreads, so not quite as highly rated as the Last Chance Christmas Ball. So if you were gonna go for one of these, probably go for this one. Whitney of Tibera's Den and I are going to be buddy reading this. I think we're starting next week, right, Whitney? It's a smaller, slimmer book. It's the first book in the Friday Harbor series by Lisa Kleypas. I'm hoping to like this better than the Travis's series. I love all historical romance, Lisa Kleypas, pretty much. Lisa Kleypas' contemporary romance and I have not always seen eye to eye. So this is the first book in the series, as I said, which is kind of an interesting decision to start your series with a Christmas book. It got a 3.76 on Goodreads. It looks like it's going to be emotional, but cathartic, honestly, ultimately. We have a little girl named Holly. She's 6 years old. Her mother passed away. The mother left in her will that she wanted her brother to take Holly. So he's a single guy. He's a single dad trying to figure out what on earth to do with Holly, trying to get over the loss of his sister when they meet a woman named Maggie, who is still reeling after the passing of her husband about a year earlier. She owns a toy shop. And so we find 3 people that are in need of some serious connection and Christmas magic. And it sounds like this book will deliver on both of those things. Really excited to start this next week. Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward wrote this one. Slade. It's a collection of short stories. I could not pass this up. And do you know how I found it? I am so in love with the narrator, Zachary Weber, and I do like Teddy Hamilton, and I also like Andy Arndt. So when I found out all 3 of them were going to be in one audiobook, I had to grab it. So I used my credit, and I'm really looking forward to this. It got a 3.94 on Goodreads, and I'm excited to try out a new romance author and have some more Christmas fun. Another anthology that I grabbed, I used a credit for this one because I really wanted it and I kept trying to get it at the library and they never had it when I wanted it. How the Dukes Stole Christmas. It has Sarah McLean and Tessa Dare. I mean, how am I going to pass that up? Joanna Shoup, I've heard a lot of great things about. Sophie Jordan, I don't know really, but I'm excited to try her out. This looks like a tremendous anthology. I'm excited to listen to it. I already did a vlog on the Eloisa James book. One of my online friends mentioned that the Erica Ridley is also quite good, so I'm gonna have to check that one out too. I'm really enjoying this anthology. I love Eloisa James. I'm not familiar with the rest of these authors, but that's why I love anthologies. It gives you a chance to get a sense of somebody's writing style when you don't know them yet, so you can see if they're a good fit. Speaking of anthologies I've covered for Vlogmas, I also purchased this. I have read Lisa Kleypas and Lorraine Heath. That was my first Lorraine Heath. Loved it, loved it. I enjoyed this, but it was really wacky and interesting. You could check out my vlogs and see what I'm talking about. Megan Frampton, Vivian Loren are new to me, but I'm looking forward to trying them out. This has been a wild, wacky, and wonderful anthology. Very Christmassy, very romantic, very bonkers. Talking about that first story, Lisa Kleypas. I got a 3.58 on Goodreads. My last offering is something you've heard me talk about already, probably, either in a vlog or my TBR for December, When She Was Naughty. I got it for 99 cents on Kindle, and I loved it. It actually had another Christmas short story she wrote in a blog in 2012, as well as the first chapter of The Governess Game, which is book 3 in Girl Meets Duke, which is a series I am very much falling in love with right now. I really enjoyed this short story, and it was worth every 99 pennies. I could just say it, worth every penny. It got a 3.88 on Goodreads. Well, that was my book hauls video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging around this long. If you enjoyed these, feel free to subscribe because I'm going to be doing way more book hauls in 2023. I hope you're doing well. Until next time, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.